Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Hokage. Start by prying Hinata away. Chapter 61. After several days of travel, Fungin and the other three finally returned to Konoha village. The nights in Konoha are much cooler. Unlike Kuni, there are girls in bathing suits who have just finished bathing in hot springs and are wandering among the shops at night. Fungin and Hinata separated and walked towards their homes. With Hyuga Hiyashi here, there was no need for him to take Hinata home. On the other side, Konoha Security Department. The moment Fungin and the other two returned to the village, someone came to notify Shimura Shunta. A man said respectfully, "Captain, that brat and the Hyuga father and daughter are back." Shimura Shunta's expression suddenly darkened while he was sitting in the office chair. "I understand, please step back." "Yes." After the man retreated, Shimura Shunta smashed the table angrily. The leader of the Hyuga clan is only at the level of a Jonin. Taimang, who was transformed into a monster, is already at the level of a top Jonin. Why did he fail? Even with his level as an elite Jonin, he dare not even dare to escape from Taimang's berserk state. And how could Hyuga Hiyashi, an ordinary Jonin, be able to escape unscathed when he had to protect two brats? Crunch. An old man on crutches opened the door and walked in. Shimura Shunta quickly put away his emotions and stood up. "Lord Danzo." Shimura Danzo lightly glanced at the cups scattered on the table. "It seems that you are better informed than me now." "My nephew dare not." Shimura Shunta lowered his head quickly. Danzo said calmly, "I don't have to keep an eye on that brat these days." Hearing that his uncle did not blame him, Shimura Shunta was happy at first, and then asked doubtfully, "Why didn't you kill him?" Danzo's eyes opened slightly. "You seem to want to kill him." No, I did it all according to Master Danzo's instructions." "Really? Then the assassination of Fungin by a group of people before was not arranged by you?" Hearing this, Shimura Shunta suddenly stood on his head with chills. "Why did my uncle know about this?" He said timidly, That's the person Taimang found for his son." Boom. Shimura Danzo hit the ground with his cane with an unhappy expression. "Without your permission, could that group of people enter the village smoothly? Can they just find a deserted alley to start? You have been forming factions all these years. Do you really think you can avoid my eyes and ears?" "Uncle, I was wrong. I listened to you." Shimura Danzo was even more angry when he saw his weak look. "If you are taking revenge on the kid for Taimang's son, I can understand it, but just because you were tricked once by the kid, you will hold a grudge against the kid. If you don't change your compulsive attitude, someone will want to take your seat at any time." Quote. Shimura Shunta's whole body trembled slightly, his eyes were splitting, and he growled. "What about you, uncle? Why do you want to kill that brat? If Master Hokage hadn't extended an olive branch to him, you..." Before he finished speaking, Danzo grabbed his neck and cursed with an extremely ugly face. "Idiot, if it weren't for your father's sake." He wanted to kill Fungin because Fungin was from the Uzumaki lineage, and the demise of the Uzumaki country had more than just a relationship with Konoha. Not only other villages are afraid of the Uzumaki clan's sealing technique, but even Konoha village, as an ally, is also afraid. After Konoha picked up Uzumaki Kushina and possessed the tailed beast, it no longer mattered whether the Uzumaki country existed or not. Not saving them was just an excuse for him and Sarutobi Hiruzen to use the hands of other villages. Once the descendants of the Uzumaki clan know the truth, it will be a hidden danger after all. In addition, Hiruzen actually recruited him into Anbu, which made him murderous. But now, he and Orochimaru's plan was approaching, and he didn't want his purpose to be exposed by a brat. But what Danzo didn't know was that even if Fungin knew the reason for the collapse of the Whirlpool Kingdom, he would not be affected by such a thing. As the strength in Danzo's hand became stronger and stronger, Shimura Shunta, who was out of breath, turned red from holding back. Shimura Danzo threw him aside. "I have more important things to do recently, so please calm down for me, otherwise don't blame me for not caring about my fellow clansmen." After Danzo left, Shimura Shunta got up from the ground, his face was extremely cold, and he clenched his fists tightly. "If you don't let me kill you, I will kill you." The next day, Fungin slept until the sun was shining on her buttocks before getting up. After he washed up, he looked at his handsome face in the mirror and murmured to himself, "Should I go find my guy?" He had promised Might Guy to learn taijutsu from him during the preliminaries. Moreover, there are more and more monsters that absorb ninjutsu and are immune to ninjutsu, and there is a threshold for shanjutsu and they will eventually return to taijutsu. Go tell Teacher Hong. Fengyan got up and found Yuhi Hong and others to explain, then came to the training ground of the third team. Just need to know the general direction of their site. Because from far away, you can hear Might Guy and Xiao Li counting loudly. 2091, 2092, 2093. Are you catching up soon, Li? Yuxi, then go beyond the limit again. As Might Guy shouted passionately, he did a handstand with one hand and doubled his speed. 3071. 3072. Not far from the training ground, Fengyan felt frightened when he saw two green strips, one long and one short, doing crazy exercises up and down. Learn 8 inner gates and run, learn 8 inner gates and run. Fengyan murmured in his heart. At this moment, a voice suddenly came. Who are you? Walking towards them were Tiantian and Hyuga Neji, a girl with a bun and a pale pink sleeveless mandarin jacket. Hyuga Neji calmly continued her words, Fengyan. Oh yes. When Tiantian remembered, he clenched his hand into a fist and smashed it into the palm of the other hand. Neji, how do you remember it so clearly? I remember the qualifier match in Fengyan. You left the game before. Hyuga Neji did not answer her question. He can't tell her that he remembers all his teammates in his sister's class clearly, right? He stared at Fengyan and asked coldly, what are you doing here? Study. Facing his future uncle's question, Fengyan replied politely. Hyuga Neji has a very complicated psychology. While he cares about his cousin Hinata, he also wants to beat her to death from time to time during training. Study. Teacher Guy only knows physical skills. Are you here to cause trouble? Hyuga Neji frowned slightly. At this moment, Might Guy stood on the ground and jumped high into the air. Neji, he was invited by me. Let's burn youth together from now on. Then he flashed his signature flash bang smile. Oh. Rock Lee also jumped over with his support on the ground. Another of his signature small flash bang smiles appeared, while he assumed a fighting stance. Fengyan, right, my name is Rock Lee, I noticed you last time. Let's duel. Fengyan raised his eyebrows and said. Can I refuse? Why is there a hot-blooded idiot everywhere? No, there are two hot-blooded idiots here. Why? Rock Lee quickly stepped forward and put his hands on Fengyan's shoulders, shaking him vigorously. Fengyan was almost knocked unconscious and quickly broke away. If you are targeted by a hot-blooded idiot, the best solution is to treat it coldly. He looked at Might Guy aside. Teacher Guy, teach me 8 inner gates. Might Guy looked around Fengyan. Then he nodded. Your body strength should be strong enough to withstand the discomfort caused by closing the second door. Can it only be the second door? Fengyan murmured softly. I thought that with his body strengthened by cell activation, it would not be a problem to at least open the door to life. Might Guy heard his words and explained. Well, it's no problem if you open it forcefully. Like Xiao Li, you can open the door to the 5th level without considering that you can't move your body afterwards. Then how far can I open the door if I don't consider the pain? You have to experience this for yourself. Everyone's perception of pain and perseverance are different. Try using chakra to open the first door, almost above the left eye. Fengyan nodded and closed his eyes. Inspire more chakra in the body to flow into the first door. For some reason, he has always felt that his perception is getting stronger and stronger recently. When he closes his eyes, he seems to be able to sense the direction of the flow of chakra in his veins. He continued to pour chakra into the open door acupuncture point, but there was no feeling of breaking through the wall for a long time. Why? Fengyan, who had his eyes closed, couldn't help but frown and introduced more chakra again. Seeing that there was still no change in Fengyan's body after a minute, Might Guy's expression gradually became serious. Is it because you can't feel the opening points in your body? Hyuga Neji on the side crossed his arms and said coldly, 8 inner gates is not as simple as you think, arrogant guy. Don't say that, Neji, we can't master the 8 inner gates either. People around him try to smooth things over every day. Gentle Fist focuses on softness, and 8 inner gates focuses on strength, so I didn't learn it. I know. Seeing Neji anxiously explaining but with a serious look on his face, Tiantian covered his mouth to suppress laughter. After waiting for another moment, he saw that there was still no change in Feng'an. Feng'an, why don't you learn physical skills from me first? Might Guy raised his hand to put it on his shoulder. Zitsa. Feng'an's whole body suddenly shook. Might Guy was stunned for a moment, then lowered his raised hand and smiled. Not bad, the first door has been successfully opened. However, Feng'an still showed no sign of opening his eyes at this time. Are you going to attack the second gate and close it? Might Guy said to himself. Teacher Guy, is it dangerous if he goes to attack the second gate just after studying? Rock Lee on the side was kicking the wooden stakes and counting while caring about the situation here. He still wants to duel with Feng'an. How can he do it if Feng'an is injured? Might Guy shook his head. Judging from his physical fitness, the second goal won't be a problem. Really? Great. Xiao Li was full of fighting spirit and accelerated his kicking of the wooden stakes. Feng'an closed his eyes tightly and frowned. He obviously introduced a lot of chakra, but for some reason, the second gate was also the same, making it very difficult to break through. Why exactly? With a sudden thought, he planned to pour a huge amount of chakra directly into the second door, Examen, at once. Break, he growled inwardly. Boom, the wall of Examen was blown away by the huge influx of chakra in just the blink of an eye. After breaking through the wall of the Examen gate, he rushed into the Shengmen gate in an instant. Boom, the third door, the door to life is open. At the same time that the wall of the health gate was broken through, another wave of intrusion came into the wound gate, and there were faint signs of being broken open. The aura around him suddenly changed, his hair flew upside down, the blue chakra air flow leaked out, and the fine gravel around him was crushed into powder. Seeing this, everyone was slightly moved except for Hyuga Neji, who looked indifferent. Tiantian opened his mouth slightly. Is this really the second level of the door? No, this is the breadth of the third door. A drop of sweat rolled down Rock Lee's cheek. Might Guy's thick eyebrows are squeezed together to form a line. When Feng'an's complexion turned a little red, Might Guy quickly put his hands on his shoulders. Stop continuing, Feng'an. Feng'an, who was about to go all out, suddenly opened his eyes when he heard Might Guy's words. Only then did he notice the changes on his body, and the skin all over his body became a little red. At this time, the fourth level door, the injury door, had already naturally opened. He clenched his fists, feeling full of strength. Is this the growth rate of 8 inner gates? It's so strong. At this time, the Might Guy next to him said solemnly to him, do you feel any discomfort in your body? Hearing this, Feng'an moved his body casually and did not feel any discomfort. Then he shook his head. No. Might Guy put one hand on his chin. Really, the fourth goal, for the first time, it's great. Come with me and try your strength. Not long after, Might Guy was the first to arrive at a place full of boulders, and then Feng'an and others also arrived at the scene. Xiao Li also stopped kicking, and he was also curious about how strong Feng'an was. Might Guy pointed to the 5-meter-high rock leaning against the yellow mountain in front of him. Feng'an, use your full strength to strike and see. Feng'an nodded, walked to the rock, clenched his fists, and did not hesitate at all. A punch suddenly flew out. Bang! There was a loud bang. Click! The 5-meter-high rock cracked from the punch hole left by Feng'an, and the spider web-like cracks instantly spread to the entire body of the rock mass. Boom! In an instant, the 5-meter-high rock was torn apart and scattered on the ground. Feng'an quickly backed away, then looked at his left hand and muttered to himself, why do I feel that the destructive power is not as great as I thought? Okay, great. Tiantian's mouth opened slightly as he looked at the rock that Feng'an easily smashed. To this extent, I can do it with 8 trigrams 64 palms. Neji looked at Feng'an with a cold face, always looking like he owed him money. Just watch, Mr. Guy, I will catch up with Neji as soon as I surpass him. Rock Lee can also open the fourth door like the boulder Feng'an shattered, but the burden on his body will be heavier than Feng'an's. After seeing Feng'an's power, Might Guy touched his chin. Judging from the fact that he is still able to move freely after being injured in the fourth goal, his physical fitness has surpassed that of Xiao Li. A genius in ninjutsu, is he also a genius in physical arts? Click, click. At this moment, there was a sudden cracking sound. Click. Suddenly there were several more rapid cracking sounds. The surprised people took a closer look and were all shocked. I saw several dense black cracks on the mountain spreading rapidly towards the top, and then countless rubbles rolled down. The mountain is cracked. Might Guy slapped his forehead hard. Nima Grande. In front of it is the Hokage rock. Hearing the sound of cracking, Fungin looked back subconsciously. His expression suddenly changed. Why did the mountain crack? The gravel rolling down above his head, seen from a distance, was not that big compared to the majestic mountain. But when Fungin looked up from below, in his eyes, it was a pile of boulders 2 or 3 meters high that were rapidly falling towards him. He jumped back quickly and dodged away when a rock fell on his face. Boom! The moment he dodged, his original position was buried by countless boulders, causing dust and gravel to rise several feet high. The mountain is covered with several dense cracks, and 2 of the thickest cracks spread directly to the top of the mountain. Compared with the right half of the mountain, the left half has moved down several meters. What happened? Just when Fungin was still a little palpitating, a pair of big hands fell on his shoulders. Looking back, I saw a familiar face with thick eyebrows and small eyes. Fungin, it's over, then, that's the Hokage rock in front of it. Might Guy's face was ashen, and his hands subconsciously exerted force, which made Fungin feel a little painful. The other 3 were also stunned. Are you sure you are opening the 4th door, the injury door? Not the 6th door, the Jingmun. Xiao Li's face, which was full of vigor before, suddenly turned sluggish. Ben was still full of ambition to surpass Neji and then catch up with Fungin, but at this time he had given up on Fungin's goal. It's better to be Super Neji. Xiao Li felt bitter inside. Is he really 1 year younger than me? Not older than me? Tiantian also opened his mouth wide, and his eyes were as wide as the whites of his eyes. Only Hyuga Neji still clenched his back molars. His heart was in constant turmoil, but he tried not to show it, which made him look livid. In the Hokage room, Sarutobi Hiruzen, a smoker, was smoking his cigarette pipe contentedly. There was a sudden loud noise. What's going on? Sarutobi Hiruzen opened his eyes suddenly and showed a little force on his hands. Snap! The pipe broke into 2 pieces. He stood up hastily. Looking out from the rectangular glass in Hokage's office, I just saw the face sculpture of myself on the Hokage rock cracked from head to chin. Is it an enemy attack? Cloud Shinobi or Rock Shinobi? Elephant. With Sarutobi Hiruzen's low drink. A masked man in white robes walked in from outside the Hokage and knelt down on 1 knee respectfully. Sarutobi Hiruzen ordered in a deep voice. Go and investigate the loud noise just now and the cracks in the Hokage rock. Yes, other Anbu members have already rushed. Just in case, you should go there too. Yes. After the white-robed Anbu man code-named Shang exited the door. Whoosh! Disappeared instantly. After calming down, Sarutobi Hiruzen took out a cigarette bag and lit it. The final exhibition match of the Chunin exam is about to begin. Is someone deliberately preparing to make the daimyo lose trust in Konoha? At the same time, a loud rumbling sound came from Hokage Rock, which also attracted the villagers in the village to stop and look. The 3rd Hokage's head is split open. Enemy attack. Run quickly, you can still go shopping. Your grandma is a bear. She just runs away. What are you doing with my melons on horseback? The villagers immediately panicked and scattered. The last time these ordinary villagers saw such a scene was the last time. On the other side, Fungin swallowed hard after hearing Might Guy's words. He heard what Might Guy meant from his words. But he still asked reluctantly, Teacher Guy, you mean? I cracked the Hokage rock. Yeah, Might Guy nodded without hesitation. Exclamation mark. Did I smash the Hokage rock with 1 punch? Compared with the excitement of being able to crack the Hokage rock with 1 punch, he was more heartbroken that he would have to bear debts that he could not repay at such a young age. He quickly grabbed Might Guy's arms on his shoulders. Teacher Guy, you asked me to hit you. Might Guy's face hardened and he said, I asked you to hit the boulder, not the Hokage rock. Feng An's eyes widened. Isn't this just putting up your pants and not recognizing anyone? This is really Spider-Man riding a horse. Pull up Peter. Whoosh. When the 2 were about to divide the responsibilities, several Anbu members wearing masks jumped down from the top of Hokage Rock. The 3rd class and Might Guy were surrounded by several people. Several Anbu members said in cold tones, What are you doing here? Even Anbu is here, and it looks like he will lose everything. Fungin's face turned pale after the wounded men had dispersed. Might Guy looked solemn, and he naturally knew that these people were Anbu, the direct subordinate of Lord Hokage. It was also the department that he originally wanted to join, but was ruthlessly rejected. Might Guy said, "We train here." When several Anbu members were about to continue asking something, another Anbu member in white robes appeared. "No need to ask, just come with me." Might Guy nodded. "If you do something wrong, you must bear the responsibility for it." Not long after, Shang led Fungin and others to the Hokage room. Along the way, Shang already learned what happened from Might Guy's mouth. "Lord Hokage, they are the ones who caused the violent shaking and destroyed the Hokage rock. I understand, you all should step back first." Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, put down his tobacco bag, and stood up from his seat. Yes, several Anbu members exited the door and disappeared again, lurking in the darkness. When Sarutobi Hiruzen narrowed his eyes and looked at the four people, he suddenly found that Fungin was also there. "Why are you on the third shift?" Fungin said politely. "Go back to Master Hokage, Mr. Guy and I are learning taijutsu. Learn physical skills. What is this kid doing?" Sarutobi Hiruzen turned to look at Might Guy. "Guy, please briefly recount what happened to me." "Yes, Lord Hokage." Listening to Might Guy's narration, Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression changed from calm to frown and finally to shock. "You mean, after Fungin opened the 8 inner gates, he smashed the Hokage rock with one full blow?" Might Guy said solemnly, "Yes." Snap. The tobacco pouch in Sarutobi Hiruzen's hand was accidentally broken by him again. He stared at Fungin beside him and said in a low voice, "Do you know what Hokage rock means?" "It means the great contributions that Hokage adults have made to the village throughout the generations." Might Guy suddenly said loudly, "I'm sorry, Master Hokage, it's my fault. I am solely responsible for the cost and repair work to repair the Hokage rock." "Guy, don't cover him up. Whoever makes the mistake will be responsible for it." Sarutobi Hiruzen lit up a cigarette pipe again. "Fungin stays, the rest of you can go back first." "Yes, Lord Hokage." Might Guy looks unwilling, but he will not disobey Sarutobi Hiruzen. After he walked to the door, he gave a thumbs up sideways and showed his signature flash bomb smile. "Fungin, you are already my disciple." He left a few words and took Xiao Li and the others away. After that, only Maple Yasu and Sarutobi Hiruzen were left in the Hokage room. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a puff of smoke and shouted, "Is it the Hokage rock you broke?" "What you broke is the contribution of the predecessors, the symbol of the village." Fungin knew that he was in the wrong, so he couldn't say anything and allowed himself to be ridiculed. However, after just a few words of sermon, Sarutobi Hiruzen changed the subject. "Join Anbu, and let's forget about the Hokage rock." Fungin, who had his head lowered, was obviously startled when he heard this, and subconsciously uttered a word. 6. Seeing Fungin's thoughtful look, Sarutobi Hiruzen raised the corners of his mouth slightly, then immediately suppressed it. He said in a deep voice, "I see that you are still young and have a promising future. How can you waste your talent on making money and paying off debts every day? Furthermore, joining Anbu will provide you with 5 insurances and 1 fund. Regardless of the high housing prices in Konoha, Anbu's Provident Fund is also the highest among all positions." Facing Sarutobi Hiruzen's sugar-coated bullets, Fungin struggled internally. He doesn't like the feeling of being restrained, he just wants to be a happy little bird. But for the Hokage rock, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't charge him with XXX, he couldn't afford the repair work alone. "It seems that Anbu has to join." Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned gradually. What on earth is this kid thinking? With such a good offer, he is still hesitating. He urged, "Have you decided yet?" Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little impatient, Fungin had already made his decision. His eyes flashed. "Master Hokage, I have decided. I will join Anbu, but I only want to be your direct subordinate. I do not recognize other people's will of fire." Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his eyebrows when he heard this. "Doesn't this suit me?" With a tentative tone, he said lightly, "You don't recognize Lord Danzo's will of fire." Fungin lowered his head. "I agree, but I will only believe in one person, that is you, Lord Third Hokage." Sarutobi Hiruzen was overjoyed and said 3 good words in a row. Okay, from now on, Just listen to my arrangements. You go back first. If there is anything I need you to do, I will let the elephant inform you. Feng'an scratched his head. Who is the elephant? The man in the white robe and mask from before. You will have the opportunity to meet frequently in the future. Sarutobi Hiruzen pulled on his Hokage hat. Okay, you can go back first and take the third exam as usual. Yes. Feng'an nodded and exited the Hokage room. After he left, Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled smoke. Looks like there's a chance to be groomed into the next Uchiha Itachi. Feng'an's expression returned to normal after leaving the Hokage room, and he rubbed his cheeks. What he just said made him feel a little uncomfortable. What will of fire? In less than half a month, Sarutobi Hiruzen will lose his life under the conspiracy designed by Orochimaru and Danzo, which is why he said he only takes orders from Sarutobi Hiruzen. As soon as Feng'an came out, he saw two flash bomb-like smiles shining in his eyes. Teacher Guy, Lee. Feng'an smiled. And there we are. Tiantian from behind poked out her round head and said with a smile. Tenten, Neji. Hyuga Neji said coldly. I'm just afraid that if you are arrested, Hinata-sama will feel distressed. Feng'an was a little confused. How could Hinata know? Tiantian pressed his fingers on his temples and circled them, saying. She came to you with a small black box. After learning that you broke the Hokage rock, she ran away in panic. Feng'an nodded slightly. Might Guy stepped forward and asked, did Master Hokage tell you? How much does it cost to repair Hokage rock? I will pay for it. Hearing his words, Feng'an smiled and shook his head. Lord Hokage, please forgive me for my first offense. Real or fake? Real. Feng'an nodded and smiled. Teacher Guy, you go to train first. I remembered that I still have something to do. See you later. Feng'an turned and left. He now wants to confirm his suspicion as to why the chakra was lost when attacking the 8th gate. Tiantian on the side tilted his head slightly and asked. Teacher Guy, is he telling the truth? It must be fake. He is afraid that we can't afford the high cost. Can't you see the worry hidden under his smile? He is obviously forcing a smile. Might Guy wiped his tearful eyes. Let's go. Let's go on missions and collect money. Xiao Li was also full of tears. Teacher Guy. On the other side, Feng'an has returned home. He took off his clothes. Mobilize the chakra in your body again to attack the first gate of the 8 inner gates and open it. When he slowly introduced chakra, it was obvious that the flow was wrong. It was like introducing a chakra the size of an egg, but what entered was only as small as a quail egg. He carefully felt the flow of chakra. Suddenly, in his inner vision, on the way to opening the door, the chakra flow was diverted. He immediately stopped introducing chakra to the door and turned towards the branch to introduce chakra. Shockingly, he discovered that it was the white cells from before that were sucking his chakra. He frowned. If he was 780% sure that it was a first-generation cell before, now he is 99.99% sure. He opened his eyes while quoting chakra. His face was solemn. Just as he suspected, there was a ring of white skin on the left side of his chest, with the faint outline of a human face. Feng'an stopped introducing chakra and looked at his chest with fear. You won't grow up to be as exaggerated as Uchiha Madara, right? Fortunately, it's not obvious now. You can't see anything. At most, the left breast is a little higher than the right. Joe, why does it look like I have grown breasts? Feng'an became more and more depressed as he watched, and he already had a plan in mind. As long as Hashirama's face dared to appear, he would use the power of yin and yang to flatten him. Suddenly, something occurred to him. This also means that I successfully transplanted Hashirama cells, right? Feng'an suddenly clasped his hands together. Snapped. The tree world is coming. But nothing happened. Hey, sure enough, Feng'an touched his nose. Fortunately, he was at home and no one saw his behavior. From the time he traveled to the present, he hadn't seen Hokage for more than 10 years, and he had basically forgotten the names of wood-style ninjutsu, let alone the trajectory of chakra in the body. Let's talk about it later when we have a chance, put it aside for now. Feng'an thought about it carefully and realized that he had a lot to learn in the future. The power of yin and yang was half put on hold due to low efficiency, and there was no chance to get into contact with medical ninjutsu. The yang attribute chakra had to be shelved, and the wood style obtained now was also shelved. The potential is unlimited and the future is promising. Feng'an murmured and nodded, comforting himself, trying to deceive himself from feeling troublesome. At this time, there was a gentle knock on the door. Boom, boom. Feng'an, it's me. Feng'an was obviously startled when he heard the familiar voice. Hinata, why is she here? How did she know about my home? Oops, my house hasn't been tidied up yet. Wait a minute. Feng'an quickly put on her clothes and quickly tidied up the house. Then she ran to the door panting and opened the door. Come in. Hinata nodded slightly, leaned against the wall, and took off her ninja boots, revealing her white and petite feet. She politely muttered, "Excuse me." He walked quietly into the house. Exclamation mark. Feng'an stared at her bare feet stepping on the wooden board, with slight ripples in his heart. Is this stepping on the floor? Every step he took was clearly stepping on his heart. Since there are usually no guests in Feng'an's home, there is only one table and chair. The two had no choice but to sit on the small bed together. Hinata, who was sitting next to Feng'an, had her back straight and her two little hands clasped together. Her rosy face looked very reserved. This is my first time at Feng'an's house, so nervous. Seeing that Hinata looked very restrained, Feng'an took out the milk from the refrigerator and handed it to her. He smiled and asked, "How did you know my home is here?" Hinata carefully took the milk, raised her beautiful eyes, blinked, and whispered, I have white eyes." The room was quiet for a few seconds. Yes, Hinata has a supercilious look, and it is not a simple thing to find herself. Feng'an scratched his head in embarrassment. At this time, Hinata on the side took a big sip of milk and seemed to draw strength from it. He mustered up the courage to turn his head and look at Feng'an with his big eyes. However, after just one look at Feng'an, she felt like a deflated ball and hurriedly lowered her eyes. She blushed and whispered, "I heard that you destroyed the Hokage rock. I had some overdraft money from my father. I wonder if I can help you with some." Then she fumbled for a small bulging bag and stuffed it into Feng'an's hand. Feng'an held the small gray cloth bag in his hand and felt heavy. In fact, it was not just in his hands, but also in his heart. He grabbed Hinata's little hand, spread her palm, and put the bag back. He said gently, "Master Hokage didn't ask me to compensate, please forgive me." "Huh, really?" Hinata asked, blinking her beautiful eyes. Feng'an smiled and said, "Would I lie to you?" Hinata looked a little shy at the flawless face in front of her. "Then, I don't have anything else to do. I'm going back first." Wait a moment. Feng'an suddenly thought of something. Then after groping for a while, he took out a scroll and handed it to Hinata's hand. "Ah," Hinata said shyly, "this is that." Feng'an said coquettishly, "Yes, something happened unexpectedly before, and now the property has been returned to its original owner, so I won't be able to use it anymore." Hinata nodded mechanically and silently put the scroll into his bag. "Then I'll go back." Hinata stood up from the bed, her jade feet lightly stepping on the wooden board. "Wait a moment. What's wrong?" Feng'an scratched his little face with his fingers. "It's okay, but wait a moment before leaving." Hinata responded softly and sat back on the bed, holding the corners of her clothes tightly with her little hands. The room was surprisingly quiet, and the two could hear each other's heartbeats getting faster and faster. A lonely man and a widowed woman live in the same room. The man is in love and the woman is interested. Review. Seizda. In this way, the two of them stayed together and simply reviewed a genin's basic literacy and ninja common sense manual. At the same time, on the other side, Sarutobi Hiruzen also called on his subordinates to provide official explanations and comfort to the villagers. At the same time, they worked hard and sent people to the country of waves to ask the stone statue master to repair it. After all, it won't be long before famous names and various big shots come to the exam site to watch the competition. Sarutobi Hiruzen stood on the large open-air balcony on the first floor above the Hokage building. Asked in a low voice, "Bang, what is Danzo doing recently?" Whoosh. A man in black robe wearing a mask fell down. Back to Hokage-sama. Danzo-sama has been in and out of the Konoha Guard from time to time these days. Konoha Guard. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes were deep and he calmly ordered. "I understand. Keep an eye on Danzo these days, and ask other people to cooperate with the elephant." Before the princes and big shots from various countries come, there must be no problems. Just retreat. Yes. After the masked man responded respectfully, he used the body flicker technique to disappear. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his eyes and looked at the Hokage rock, and the corners of his mouth twitched. There were obviously 4 shadow rocks, but only his was cracked, and it was from head to mouth. What an ominous sign, Sarutobi Hiruzen murmured with his hands behind his back. A few days later, on a certain building in Platycoden City, 5 Anbu members were surrounding a corpse whose blood had coagulated. Blast! A tear rolled down from under the mask of an Anbu member with long purple hair. Night, Hokage Building, Conference Room. Sarutobi Hiruzen and 2 consultants Mitokado Homura and Udatane Kaharu sit in front. Many Konoha shinobi people are sitting cross-legged below, including Kakashi, Yuhi Hong, Morino Ihiki, Mitarashi Anko and others. Someone among them must have heard about it. Sarutobi Hiruzen put down his Hokage hat and continued. Moonlight Hayate was found murdered near Platycoden Castle. Some of the ninjas below were whispering to each other. Moonlight Hayate, how can it be? Anko's eyes were cold. Did Orochimaru do it? Kakashi on the side said calmly. Not necessarily. Hayate is monitoring the spy Yakushi Kabuto planted by the Sound Ninja, but it must have something to do with Orochimaru. Another ninja said. Then suspend the Chunin exam and arrest Orochimaru. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. It's inappropriate. Orochimaru once threatened in front of Anko that the Chunin exam cannot be suspended. He has the power to destroy a small country. Many countries care about Orochimaru after he leaves Konoha. Could it be that the allies and Orochimaru are colluding with each other and preparing to take action against us? Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, he boldly expressed his guess. After hearing the similar speculation, everyone's pupils shrank. One of the ninjas asked tremblingly, but wouldn't other countries violate the alliance's agreement? Kakashi glanced at him casually. The alliance agreement is just a verbal agreement, and the previous ninja wars also happened like this. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting in the seat directly in front of him, nodded. What you said is correct, but there is insufficient evidence now, so don't speculate too much. Udatane Kaharu, who was sitting on it, said. Anbu has sent people secretly to collect intelligence from various countries. If you act rashly, you will definitely fall into the enemy's trap. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued. And, I trust everyone here. As a last resort, we can only combine the power of Konoha to fight. After saying that, he stood up and put on the Hokage hat. He straightened his expression and said, everyone, please. Yes, the ninjas below responded in unison. With the departure of 2 advisors, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Konoha, the rest gradually left. When Sarutobi Hiruzen walked to a place where no one was around, he whispered, Elephant. My subordinate is here. The man in the white robe and mask knelt on one knee behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. Inform Chia about this. Sarutobi Hiruzen walked forward without looking back. Receive. Fungin, who was practicing at home, slowly opened his eyes. These days, he discovered that since he had Hashirama cells, he had automatically mastered Kagura's mind. As long as you close your eyes and open your inner eye, you can detect abnormal things within a few kilometers, and you can also hide your own chakra aura to avoid enemy detection. As the Uzumaki clan's secret technique automatically activated, Fungin murmured and closed his eyes. As soon as he opened his mind, he felt a familiar chakra coming towards him. Elephant. He suddenly opened his eyes and put on his clothes. Whoosh! A figure in white robe leaned against the window. Something happened to Moonlight Hayate. Master Hokage asked me to inform you. I know, did you tell me what to do? Fungin responded from inside the room. None. After the elephant gave a simple reply, he disappeared into the night. Only the faint ripples in the air proved that someone had just arrived. Moonlight Hayate is dead. You just informed me and didn't arrange for me to do anything. Fungin was thinking while taking a shower. Since he joined Anbu, he has only met one Anbu member, and that is Shang. It was at the request of Sarutobi Hiruzen that the two met briefly, and gave Fungin's code name in Anbu Kai. After so many days, not only was there no one to disturb him, but Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't even assign him a task. The day after tomorrow is the 3rd official exam. The game has been changed and Fenghua and I have been added. I don't know if the original plot will follow. After taking a bath, Feng'an lay on the bed and fell asleep comfortably. The next day, the draw for the third official test of the Chunin exam was held. Including Feng'an, there were a total of 10 genin on site. A man wearing a forehead protector on his back and holding a black stick as thin as a toothpick in his mouth said, "My name is Shiranui Genma, the examiner of the third exam. I called on the person whose name was drawn to draw lots." Shiranui Genma picked up the list handed over by the person next to him. Uzumaki Naruto. Come on. Naruto strode forward and put his hand through the hole in the red box to fumble around. After putting his hand in, he deliberately winked and made a funny look. Shiranui Genma on the side rolled his eyes at him. "Go down after touching it." Hey. Naruto chuckled and took his hand out of the red box, holding a small paper ball in his hand. When everyone saw that he was deliberately causing trouble, they all looked at him with disdain. He is still the same as before. He likes to play a clown, entertain others, and win their attention. A trace of reminiscence flashed in Feng'an's eyes. He had never been like this in his previous life, but he had already changed his ways. The only thing the Joker could attract was a beating from Batman. Next, toss. After waiting for a long time, no one showed up. Shiranui Genma shouted again, "Toss from the Sound Ninja Village." Everyone below looked left and right, but no one found toss. "The bandage weirdo is absent. Did you oversleep like I usually do?" Only the two red-haired men knew why toss didn't come. Feng'an glanced sideways at Gaara. As he expected, Gaara showed no fluctuation at all, even though he killed toss. Not coming. Shiranui Genma put toss's list last. Next, Uchiha Sasuke. But it was quiet again, no one came up. What's going on with these two? Shiranui Genma shook his head slightly, and when he was about to call out the next name, a yellow man walked up. He looked up. The person who came to meet him was Uzumaki Naruto, who had drawn a lot. "Uzumaki Naruto, what are you doing up here?" "I'm here to help Sasuke draw lots." "Sasuke is in the same class as me." Shiranui Genma frowned. "A substitute?" Naruto shouted. "Sasuke will not run away. I believe he must be delayed for something." "Okay, then show your numbers to everyone first, and then draw Sasuke's." Shiranui Genma knew that Uchiha Sasuke, Konoha's new genius, would lose a lot of interest from famous figures such as Daimyo if he gave up. Naruto spread out the paper ball and said, "My number is 9. 9. Feng'an frowned slightly. In the original plot, he should be the number 1. Then he pumped another one for Sasuke. Next, Hyuga Hinata. Gaara. Feng'an. As Feng'an finished drawing, the 10 people present and the 12 people on the list had all been called. Shiranui Genma took the last paper ball in the red box into his hand. "Everyone, spread out the paper balls in your hands. There is a number on them." As everyone spread out, Shiranui Genma nodded. Numbers 1 and 2 are the candidates for the battle, and so on. The first official test tomorrow will be between Hyuga Hinata and Feng'an. Hearing Shiranui Genma's words, Hinata and Feng'an were stunned. Others present looked sideways at the two of them, with meaningful smiles on their lips. During the qualifiers, everyone knew that the relationship between the two was very important, not to mention that the two were still close to each other now. "I'm laughing so hard. What is this? Fate is so wonderful. This is interesting, a domestic violence scene. Haha, they won't play exhibition games in front of big shots, right? I'm immediately looking forward to tomorrow's game." Shui Yu and Feng Hua on the side also cast sympathetic glances. Only the two parties involved looked confused. "What's going on?" Shiranui Genma coughed twice. "Ahem. Everyone, please be quiet." Then the remaining candidates for the battle were announced. The second game is Gaara vs Uchiha Sasuke, the third game is Kankuro vs Aburame Shino, the fourth game is Shikamaru vs Tamari, the fifth game is Naruto vs Kazuhana, and the sixth game is Setsuki vs Toss. Everyone, have a good rest today and strive to show your fullest fighting spirit in front of princes and famous figures from all over the world tomorrow. After a lengthy speech of encouragement, they reluctantly dispersed. "Hey, Feng'an, will you admit defeat?" Feng Hua jumped in front of Feng'an, with a happy face. Feng'an rolled his eyes at her. "You should first consider whether you can fight Huang Mao." Then he rubbed Hinata, whose unhappy mood was written all over her face. Don't be mentally burdened, have you forgotten? I wasn't very interested in Chunin from the beginning. Hinata nodded. She was very conflicted inside. She wanted to show her growth in front of her father and let him recognize her. But she met Feng'an. She knew that she could not defeat Feng'an. As a result, no matter whether she won or lost, the chance to prove herself in front of her father was lost again. Oh, I'm full, I won't bother you anymore. Feng Hua took Shuiyu's arm and left. Goodbye, Hinata. Hinata nodded. Goodbye, Feng Hua, goodbye, Sister Shuiyu. Let's go too. Feng'an took Hinata's little hand. Hinata asked confused, Huh? Where are we going? Feng'an smiled and said, buy groceries, go home, and see your father-in-law. Hearing this, Hinata's face turned red and her eyes darkened. If Feng'an hadn't been holding her hand, she would have fainted. Along the way, she kept whispering, father-in-law, father-in-law. Feng'an and Hinata bought some vegetables and fish at the market, and then bought some fruits. Well, that's almost it. Feng'an was carrying 2 oversized bags of vegetables and fruits in his left and right hands. If you buy so much, you won't be able to finish it all. Hinata scratched her face. Fine, how can I be empty-handed on my first official visit? Not long after, Feng'an and Hinata returned to Hyuga's mansion carrying a large bag. After entering, the yard was empty. Hinata tilted her head. At this moment, a woman poked her head out of Hanabi's room. The woman's name is Hyuga Shaw. She is wearing black clothes and a white apron. She has very beautiful short hair. I saw her waving slightly to Hinata and the other 2. Hinata walked up and asked, Sister Shaw, what's wrong? Hyuga Shaw whispered, the elders of the clan are here to discuss things in the meeting room. The master of the family asked us to go back to the house. Suddenly Hanabi's little head popped out and shouted angrily, ah, red hair. Before she could finish shouting, Hyuga Shaw covered her mouth. Shish, Master Hanabi, the head of the family is in a meeting. Just when the 2 were about to put things in the kitchen, a low shout came from the meeting room nearby. Hiyashi, you haven't decided on the heir to the clan yet. Hinata's little hand trembled when she heard it outside the door. Great elder. She knew from the voice that the other person was the elder of the Hyuga family. Listening to the other party's tone, Feng'an also frowned. He could tell that it was probably Hyuga Hiyashi who had been putting off the issue of not choosing a clan heir, and the clan elders were already dissatisfied. Feng'an communicated with Hinata with her eyes and asked her to put the vegetables in the kitchen first. Hinata nodded and took it, carefully walking away without making any noise. Feng'an came to the side. He knew that this matter was related to whether Hinata would be planted with a caged bird, and he also wanted to know Hiyashi's thoughts. Suddenly another gentle voice sounded. Yes, Hiyashi, it's very dangerous if you keep dragging her like this. Hinata was kidnapped by the Cloud Shinobi Village ninjas before, and I still remember clearly. If she was really kidnapped at that time, Bai Yan would definitely be lost to the outside world. Plus she is a female stream. Hearing this person's words, Feng'an frowned and felt a little unhappy. Boom! There was a sound on the table in the house. At the same time, Hyuga Hiyashi shouted angrily, second elder. At the same time, the great elder shouted again. You are the head of the family now. You have been delaying in confirming the heir. How can those in the branch house not know your intentions? You must understand what I am talking about. If you really can't make up your mind, let the decision be made through a vote at the family meeting. You can take care of yourself. Feng'an, who was eavesdropping on the side, heard footsteps walking outside. He quickly hid himself in the dark. Crunch. The door was pushed open and 2 old men in kimonos came out. The 2 of them walked towards the door without looking back, and Hyuga Hiyashi did not come out to see them off either. Boom. After the 2 of them left completely, there was another loud noise in the house. Then there was the sound of some wood breaking. It was obvious that this conversation was very unpleasant. Feng'an sighed and wanted to leave. The timing of his visit today was very poor. Just as he was about to leave secretly, Hyuga Hiyashi's voice came from inside the house. Come in, Feng'an. Feng'an, who had just arched his back outside, stood up awkwardly and pushed the door open. Then he noticed the big hole on the sandalwood table in the house. It was obviously broken by Hyuga Hiyashi's punch. Hello, uncle, Feng'an simply greeted. Well, Hyuga Hiyashi let out a long sigh. Since Hazashi was gone, there was no one to talk to about his depression. There was some reminiscence in his eyes, and then he shook his head. He looked at Fungin and asked, "Tell me, why did you come here?" "Me, I'm here to eat." "Haha, do you want to eat for free?" Hyuga Hiyashi chuckled lightly and didn't ask any more questions. He didn't seem to want to say more about what happened before. "Father, have the elders left?" Outside the door, Hinata came in carrying washed fruits. Hyuga Hiyashi felt sad again when he saw Hinata's well-behaved appearance. Now that the elders are about to persecute him, it also proves that those in the branch house have been grudges for a long time. He doesn't know how long he can delay. Left already. Hyuga Hiyashi sat on the chair and sighed again. After Hinata placed the washed fruit in front of her father, she noticed the big hole in the table. She poked Fungin with her little hand, indicating to follow her. The two of them walked to the kitchen. Hinata looked around and looked at Fungin worriedly as there was no one around. Did father just quarrel with the elders? Fungin nodded. It was very noisy. Did you notice the hole in the table? In an instant, Hinata's eyebrows furrowed into a figure-8 shape. What to do? Fungin smiled and comforted. Don't worry, there will be a road before the car reaches the mountain, and there will be a village full of bright flowers and willows. Ah, which way? What village? Ah, let's cook. It's almost time for dinner. Fungin chose to skip this topic. Pick up the eggs on the side and beat them in a bowl. Hinata nodded. Let me do it. Okay, then I'll give you a hand. Fungin has lived alone for so many years. If he really wants him to be the master of the spoon, he might cook some dark dishes. Help wash the rice and steam some rice. During the meal, Hinata and the five of them sat around the dining table. There is a dazzling array of dishes such as shrimp rice, grated radish, cherry tomatoes, egg rolls, tomato scrambled eggs, etc. on the dining table. I'm going to start. As everyone clasped their hands and shouted. Fungin also hurriedly put his hands together and said, I'm starting. After all these years, he was still used to showing off directly when eating. After dinner, Hyuga Hiyashi looked at Fungin and Hinata with complicated expressions in his eyes. The pressure exerted by the first elder and second elder today made him feel sad. Seeing Hinata and Fungin always happy together, he felt even more upset when he thought of the abnormal clan rules of the Hyuga clan that prohibited intermarriage with outsiders. How long can I hold on? Hyuga Hiyashi felt bitter inside, knowing that the day of impeachment was coming soon. Fungin, who has mastered Kagura's inner eye, has much sharper senses even if he doesn't deliberately open his inner eye. He naturally captured the emotions on Hyuga Hiyashi's face. It's just that the other party doesn't want to tell him, and it's hard for him to ask directly. It must be because I am still young. Fungin said to himself. He has his own decision in his heart. Once it reaches the point where it cannot be adjusted, he will solve the abnormal rules of the Hyuga clan in his own way. The next day, the third session of the Chunin exam was held. In a huge circular venue, many villagers were sitting around early. And Sarutobi Hiruzen, as the case cage of Hokage and Sunagaku, sat in the best viewing position. Some princes and famous figures from various countries also came to the scene and slowly took their seats. Seeing that the important people had arrived at the scene, Sarutobi Hiruzen said to the man next to him, "It's time to start." Yes, the same signal was given to Shiranui Genma. Shiranui Genma nodded. The third Chunin exam, jointly organized by Konohagakure and Sunagaku, has officially begun. Then he pointed to the match list aside. The first game, Hyuga Hinata vs Fungin, candidates are invited to enter. Hyuga Hiyashi, who was watching the game in the stands, was stunned when he heard it. What kind of schedule is this? The other spectators were fine. Everyone who was present during the qualifiers had strange expressions on their faces. Fungin and Hinata entered the venue from the entrance. Game start. Following Shiranui Genma's words, Maplayan and Hinata instantly threw a kunai. Clang. After the kunai collided, the two quickly retreated, their backs against the circular arena. Then they stared at each other, carefully keeping their distance. 1 minute later, a prince watching the game on the stage couldn't help but asked, "Why don't they take action?" The Fire Country daimyo on the side covered his mouth with a small fan and chuckled. "Don't be impetuous. They are waiting for each other to reveal their flaws. In my opinion, Soon one of them will take the lead under psychological pressure. At that time, the other party will seize the flaw and fight back. The daimyo-sama's analysis makes sense. The previous prince lowered his head. However, 1 minute, 2 minutes, until 5 minutes passed. Someone eventually noticed something was wrong. Hey, why do they look so ambiguous when they look at each other? Don't say it, really don't say it, I feel the same way. Look at the shy look in that girl's eyes. It's not a hostile look at all. Maid, they are making secret glances. As the crowd's dissatisfied discussions became more and more noisy, the famous figure from the Fire Country who analyzed the nose and eyes before was unable to keep his face at this moment. He covered half of his face with a small fan and was too embarrassed to say anything. Hyuga Hiyashi and other Konoha Xiaoqiang on the stage didn't say anything. They had expected this situation. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was extremely ugly, and his hands were tightly clenched on the armrests of the seat. I'm bothered by the love between my children. Use your will of fire. He cursed inwardly. Hearing the noisy and dissatisfied voices of everyone, Fungin thought it was time. Fungin winked at Hinata. Hinata understood immediately. 8 trigrams air palm. Hinata struck out fiercely from the air. A look of panic appeared on Feng An's face, and he immediately formed the seal. However, before the seal was completed, he suddenly flew out, hit the wall behind him, and fell to the ground. So strong. From such a distance, chakra can cut off my heart. I lose. Then lying on the ground motionless, Hinata shrank her neck timidly. It shouldn't be seen by anyone, right? Her palm in the air just now was indeed a palm in the air, and the chakra was not condensed at all. Seeing this scene, Shiranui Genma was stunned for a moment, and then saw that Fungin was indeed lying on the ground motionless, so he coughed lightly and announced. Ahem, congratulations to Hyuga Hinata for winning! Exclamation mark. Seeing Fungin lose like this, Sarutobi Hiruzen almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. Your will of fire was extinguished just like that. If there weren't so many people at this moment, he would have gone down and kicked him. As a ninjutsu professor, how could he not see that Fungin jumped back and hit the wall, and then fell to the ground? Hyuga Hiyashi, who had white eyes, was even more silent. He could see clearly with his white eyes open. Apart from opening her eyes, her daughter has never used the chakra in her body. This is match fixing in full view of the public. Hinata was completely ruined by that boy. Hiyashi felt resentful in his heart. There was silence in the stands at first, and then there was an uproar. I saw loneliness. Hima, refund your money. Did you pay for it? It's true that you can have with me. What's going on? You're suddenly lying there unable to move. Seeing the increasingly emotional audience, Sarutobi Hiruzen had to stand up. He bit the bullet and said loudly, everyone, the one who won just now is a genius of the Hyuga clan, a girl. She uses a secret technique that specializes in the veins of the human body. It is a killing move that will win with one hit. It seems ordinary, but in fact, the palm contains a concentrated super powerful chakra energy block, and it hit the smelly, that examinee in less than an instant. Everyone has also heard what the examinee said. His heart has been broken, which is enough to prove the power of this genius girl's attack. After saying that, he hurriedly pulled the Hokage hat and sat down. On the side, Orochimaru's disguised seal glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a sinister look, with a slight smile under the white veil. Most of the people at the scene were ordinary villagers who couldn't understand anything and just wanted to join in the fun. As long as you say something profound, they will figure it out on their own, not to mention that few people can tell whether Hinata 8 trigrams air palm is really useful or not. When Master Hokage heard this, I understood it instantly. As expected of Master Hokage, a professor of ninjutsu. It seems like that girl is so powerful. I heard she is from the Hyuga clan. Hyuga, I know, everyone from the famous family in Konoha has never heard of that red-haired and, no wonder he can win with one blow. She is truly a genius girl of the Hyuga clan. There are also people from other countries who know something about Konoha. I remember Hyuga wasn't a boy before he was a genius. Did I remember it wrong? They all began to have doubts about their own memories. Sarutobi Hiruzen then quickly signaled with his eyes. Start the next one quickly. Bingzu's reaction was quite quick, and he quickly signaled to Shiranui Genma. After seeing the signal, regardless of the noisy noise around him, Shiranui Genma hurriedly shouted, "The second game, Uchiha Sasuke vs. Gaara. Candidates are invited to enter." Whoosh! After a small wind blew up, Gaara appeared in the middle of the field with a cold face, carrying a big gourd on his back. Most of the spectators in the stands would find even the clone technique strange, let alone the body flicker technique, which caused a lot of exclamation. Wow, is this a ninjutsu? Teleportation. Idiot, I'm using the body flicker technique. I've never eaten pork. Have you never seen a pig running? Mom, I want to learn this. I paid you to go to the ninja school to study, and you had to sleep. Now you want to study. It's too late. Oh, Mom, I don't want to inherit your hundreds of acres of land and your 100-square-meter apartment. I want to be a ninja. The daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind heard the exclamations of the people around him, looked at the wind shadow in the distance, and nodded with approval. Sarutobi Hiruzen in the distance slightly curved his lips after hearing the list. Uchiha Sasuke, this second game schedule is pretty good. However, after waiting for a long time and after Shiranui Genma called again, Uchiha Sasuke was still not seen at the scene. Why hasn't Sasuke come yet? The pink-haired little Sakura in the stands clutched the railing and was confused. After a few more minutes, the originally interested audience lost interest. A person with a temperament directly yelled, "This competition is a scam." Konoha's audience dared not speak out in anger, and they felt in their hearts that the other party was right to scold him. This is indeed a post-bar. The daimyo of the Land of Fire had an extremely ugly face, and glanced resentfully at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting in the distance. After all, this problem has occurred in 2 consecutive games held by the Fire Nation as the home court. Even though the daimyo from other countries were very knowledgeable and didn't say much, he was still sitting on pins and needles sitting among the daimyo from all over the world. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was once again covered in haze. Do these little brats want me to apologize on the spot in front of the Fire Nation's daimyo? Do you have to torture me, an old man, to death today? He couldn't sit still anymore, suppressed his anger at the guard next to him, and said with a gloomy face, "Let Genma decide that Sunagaku's Gaara wins. Let's start the next game." Etc. On the side, Orochimaru pretended to be a Kazekage, and quickly stopped his behavior. If Sasuke and Gaara cannot fight, it will be difficult for Sunagaku Baki and the others to implement their planned battle plan. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned his head with a gloomy face. "What do you mean, Kazekage-sama?" Orochimaru said calmly. "The daimyo from all over the world, including our Sunagaku ninjas, all came here to fight for Uchiha. I'm afraid the daimyo will be dissatisfied if we do it hastily." After being clicked by him, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes became clearer. If he directly decides that Uchiha Sasuke loses, he may also cause the daimyo to be dissatisfied with this competition. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a moment with a gloomy face, and then ordered the same thing to Azari, postpone the game and continue with the next one. Yes. After seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen's decision, a contemptuous smile appeared on the corner of Orochimaru's mouth under the Kazekage veil dressed up. Boom! A burst of smoke dissipated, and Shiranui Genma appeared in front of Shiranui Genma and whispered. Then there was another burst of smoke and disappeared into the venue. Shiranui Genma. Everyone, because some candidates for this competition did not arrive at the scene, the competition will be postponed to a later date. The noisy voice sounded again. What's the situation? If you can do it, don't do it. Shiranui Genma had no choice but to shout directly. The next match, Kankuro vs. Aburame Shino, candidates will enter. Kankuro looked unhappy. He didn't want to reveal his crow's secret just yet. I abstain. Following Kankuro's words, the surrounding area was filled with excitement. The daimyo of the Land of Fire even tried to cover his entire face with a fan. Konoha. No matter how weak the character is, the daimyo still has a grudge against Konoha in his heart this time. Konoha will be much more uncomfortable with future mission entrustments and financial allocations. Above, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face is ashen. Now Orochimaru's whereabouts have not been found, and competition accidents are happening one after another. This kind of thing happened again and again, and he just felt that the glorious and majestic image he had established over the years was going to be in vain, but at this time there was nothing he could do. Shiranui Genma also had a severe headache. After he announced the winner of Aburame Shino, he immediately urged the candidates for the next round to enter. Tamari, Nara Shikamaru, please enter. Hearing the chatter around him, Tamari became more and more irritable. Use the 3-star fan in your hand to fan a strong wind, then stand on the 3-star fan and fly directly to the field. Is it my turn? As Tamari entered, a glint of anticipation flashed in the eyes of Shiranui Genma and others. Maybe it can calm down the dissatisfaction of the princes and villagers of various countries. Come on down, I'm talking about you, Nara Shikamaru. Seeing that the other person was not coming down, Shiranui Genma felt something was wrong and quickly stared at him to urge him. After finishing their performance, Fungin and Hinata had already returned to the audience. Fungin saw Shikamaru's expression and knew that he definitely didn't want to play at this time. He raised his eyes to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and wanted to laugh when he saw the dark lines on his face mixed with anticipation. In the original plot, at least the first battle was somewhat interesting. Although what happened afterwards still made the audience very dissatisfied, Sarutobi Hiruzen could still hold it in his face. Now, in his deep eyes, all that remained was a helpless desire, longing for someone to fight, as long as he didn't give up. Just when Nara Shikamaru was thinking about giving up, Huang Mao on the side boarded up and slapped Shikamaru down vigorously while shouting, "Ganda Daddy!" A thud. Shikamaru fell to the playing field. He said with a look of resentment, "Idiot Naruto, I want to give up." Naruto shouted from above, "Come on, Shikamaru." However, Shikamaru lay on the ground without moving for a long time. Fungin couldn't help but smile when he saw this. In terms of fear of trouble and level of failure, Shikamaru is several times stronger than him. Not long after, the audience, who already had little patience, saw Shikamaru's attitude and threw a bunch of rubbish at him. Mineral water bottles, banana peels, cans and used paper balls were all thrown at his face. Finish him quickly. Stand up and compete, you fool. How long are you going to lie down and stand up and compete? Are you going to give up again? Sarutobi Hiruzen's emotions on the stage were like a roller coaster. As soon as he had a sense of expectation, he sank to the bottom. Nara Shikaku, as expected of your cub. Shikamaru, who was hit, had a look of helplessness on his face, thinking about whether to just admit defeat. Hey, you're not going to admit defeat too, are you? Tamari held up a 3-star fan that was almost as tall as her and challenged. Shikamaru raised his eyes and frowned. Why is my opponent a woman again? It's really troublesome. If you don't take action, then I will take action first. Seeing Shikamaru's attitude becoming more and more irritable, he picked up the 3-star fan and swung it. Shikamaru quickly used chakra to stick to the circular wall, dodging Tamari's direct attack. Well, she is such a woman with a strong desire to fight. In that case, we have no choice but to go. As Shikamaru spoke, Tamari waved her fan with an unhappy expression. Ninjutsu Kamedachi. The 3-star fan releases a huge strong wind, and the 2 hidden shurikens are its deadly killing moves. However, after the dust cleared, Shikamaru was already hiding in the dense forest on the side. Ah, it's so troublesome. Shikamaru looked up at the clouds in the sky, still showing no desire to fight against Tamari's desire. Oh, no matter what, the fight finally started. Sarutobi Hiruzen on the stage let out a long sigh. A lengthy tug of war ensued between the two. Fungin briefly looked at the domestic violence scene for a moment, then stopped looking. Shikamaru, who had an IQ of 200, could think of 199 other ways to win even without Naruto's hole. He closed his eyes and opened Kagura's inner eye. Feel the abnormality around you. As the scope of his Kagura mind eye expanded, he could sense faint figures coming and going in the periphery. Unfortunately, without knowing the opponent's chakra, he could only detect anomalies and could not determine who it was. It should be Sunagakur and the Sound Ninja Village avoiding Anbu's detection. For him, the purpose of this game has been completed when he returns from Yuno country. There is only one reason why I am still here. It won't be long before the match between Sasuke and Gaara begins, and Yakushi Kabuto, who is hiding as Anbu, will choose the right time to use the Nirvana technique. Hypnosis will be performed on all present. The most important among them is that those Cloud Shinobi Village ninjas are still evil and want to take advantage of the chaos to kidnap Hinata. 8 years ago, the Cloud Shinobi village messenger walked Hinata, causing the death of Hyuga Hazashi. Now that they still dare to think about Byakugan, they can only say that Sarutobi Hiruzen was just a clown when he compromised to Cloud Shinobi village. Since the other party took advantage of the chaos, he could also take advantage of the chaos and kill the 2 ninjas from Cloud Shinobi village. In the end, Shikamaru successfully controlled Tamari with the shadow binding technique, and after giving up and admitting defeat, the next game was the purpose of the trip for the princes of various countries. Tamari wins. Shiranui Genma continued. Next, Gaara and Uchiha Sasuke please come on stage. Base. After a breeze and leaves swept by, the figures of Uchiha Sasuke and Kakashi appeared in the venue at the same time. When 2 people use Pretender Escape together, the effect will be full. Looks like we're just in time, Sasuke. Chapter 71. After that, Gaara's figure also appeared in the middle of the field. Everyone in the stands cast their appraising glances. Especially the daimyo of the Fire Country, who was finally able to take away the fan covering his face. If Uchiha Sasuke had arrived a little slower, without Orochimaru taking action, Sarutobi Hiruzen would have been directly dismissed from his post by the daimyo. Sarutobi Hiruzen's mood has sunk to the bottom. At this time, even when he saw Uchiha Sasuke arriving at the scene, he was not too excited. He silently took out his cigarette bag and took a puff, his expression as if he was ascending to heaven. This is the only good thing that makes me feel alive. Shiranui Genma bit the black stick Senbon on his mouth. If both candidates are ready, then the competition begins now. With his order, Kakashi instantly disappeared from the field and appeared in the stands, going to Might Guy and Little Sakura. On the field, before Uchiha Sasuke made a move, he saw Gaara suddenly showing a crazy look. Gaara covered her eyes with one hand and muttered, "Don't be so angry, Mom." I saw sand emerging from the gourd behind him, floating in the air as if it had its own consciousness. Uchiha Sasuke was cautious when he saw this scene. Boom! As the huge amount of sand fell from the sky to the ground, Gaara's frantic expression returned to its cold look. Snort! Uchiha Sasuke threw the shuriken first and then rushed forward. The punches and kicks he fired were blocked by his sand. Just when Gaara's face showed no emotion, the corners of Sasuke's mouth slightly raised, and he instantly burst out with a speed comparable to that of Rock Lee in the qualifiers. Easily keeping up with Gaara's sand speed. Gaara suddenly thought of Xiao Li's watermelon head and felt a little angry. Seeing this scene, Feng'an raised his head and glanced at Xiao Li in the distance. Xiao Li watched Sasuke's actions in the audience carefully, feeling a little unwilling. After years of hard work, if someone catches up to you in just 1 month, you will definitely feel a little dissatisfied. Does hard work really work? Feng'an shook his head. The only person who can evaluate the effectiveness of hard work is Xiao Li himself. Boom! Gaara on the field got up and gave Sasuke a cold look after being kicked away by Sasuke. He formed a seal with his hands, used his own sand to form a ball, and wrapped himself in it. Sasuke didn't care, he rushed forward and punched Gaara's sand ball. However, not only was he unable to break through the opponent's defense, but his body as he approached was also pierced by the sand thorns protruding from the sand ball, causing blood to flow across his body. Chi! Sasuke quickly jumped back and somersaulted to distance himself. Is this the true absolute defense? Gaara, who was inside the sand ball, made a yin seal with her hands and closed her eyes tightly. As he mobilized the chakra in his body, a ball of sand slowly spread out from the outside of the sand ball, becoming the third eye. Sand Shinobi Baki and others in the stands looked disgusted. Gaara, how do we know when the signal will be given? He actually used that ninjutsu, what's the plan? Do I want to escape? Kankuro gritted his teeth. Tamari on the side also frowned. What on earth is Gaara doing? However, their conversation was overheard by Aburame Shino, who was standing not far away. What's the plan? Aburame Shino glanced at the 2 Kankuro through his sunglasses. Center of the field. At this time Uchiha Sasuke has used chakra to adsorb to the circular wall. Then quickly seal it. Sizzling. As the mudra is completed, Uchiha Sasuke visualizes a flow of chakra on his left hand. Sakura and Naruto in the stands were shocked. What ninjutsu is that? Why can the chakra be clearly seen? Might Guy on the side frowned slightly. That's the Chidori. It's a unique move created by the copy ninja Kakashi. When used, it seems like 1,000 birds are chirping, so it's called the Chidori. At the same time, this technique has another name, called Reikiri. It was a new name given by Kakashi after cutting off the thunder and lightning with 1,000 birds. Then Might Guy turned to look at Hatake Kakashi. You actually taught him such a dangerous ninjutsu. Didn't you also teach Xiao Li the dangerous ninjutsu like 8 inner gates? Kakashi looked indifferent, but he didn't notice Uzumaki Naruto behind him. Has Sasuke walked in front of me again? Naruto's clenched fists trembled slightly, feeling a little unwilling in his heart. But then I thought that I had mastered the summoning technique with Jiraiya, and I felt a little better. As the chakra on Sasuke's left hand was completely gathered and formed. The roaring sound of the chakra seems to be like thousands of birds chirping together, extremely loud. Chidori. Uchiha Sasuke used his second Magatama Sharingan to stare at the sand ball in front of him. Stick to the wall and swoop down. Rushing towards the sand ball, rapping Gaara at an extremely fast speed. The Chidori in his left hand carried dazzling lightning, dragging it along the wall, destroying the wall and terrain. Dragging out an astonishingly deep ravine, the distance was shortened in an instant, and he was forced in front of him. The moment Sasuke's left hand touched the sand ball, the chakra contained in Chidori broke open the sand ball with an extremely high density and hardness. One blow penetrates the sand ball. Phew, there was an obvious sound of piercing flesh coming from the sand ball. Humph, absolute defense. Uchiha Sasuke curled up the corners of his mouth and sneered. What's this? Suddenly Gaara's screams of fear and madness came from the sand ball. Mom, what happened? Blood, my blood, ah. Gaara's crazy roar shocked the hearts of all the spectators in the stands. And Uchiha Sasuke, who was in the closest position, felt even more heart palpitated. At this moment, when he tried to pull out his arm, he suddenly found that his arm was stuck in the sand ball and could not be pulled out at all. Hateful, Uchiha Sasuke shouted, and the blue lightning-shaped chakra emerged from his left hand again, and the Chidori took shape again. Ah, when Chidori's chakra rioted again, Gaara's screams and Chidori's chirping sounded at the same time in the sand ball. Sasuke jerked back and pulled out again, this time successfully pulling out his left arm. However, when he quickly retreated, what caught his left arm in the sand ball was not sand at all, but a strange brown and bloated arm. In an instant, the arm suddenly retracted from the hole. What was that just now? The cold sweat on Uchiha Sasuke's forehead rolled down his cheeks and onto his chin. Although he deeply didn't believe the scene he just saw, Sharingan clearly imprinted the scene into his mind. It definitely can't be sand. The audience on the stage was surprisingly quiet. This battle was extremely different from the previous battles. After seeing Gaara release Shukaku's arms, Baki's face was covered with cold sweat, and he carefully paid attention to the changes around him, catching signals that might be sent at any time. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Gaara's sand ball solemnly. That was just now. He had a guess, but wasn't sure. Fungin's eyes narrowed and he held Hinata's little hand beside him. He knew that Yakushi Kabuto was about to use Genjutsu. As a series of ninjas such as Sarutobi Hiruzen noticed something was wrong with the scene just now, Yakushi Kabuto, disguised as Anbu, secretly used the Nirvana technique. A super large-scale A-level illusion, feathers slowly falling down suddenly appeared in front of everyone who was watching attentively. Ah, the villagers on the stage, including some ninjas who didn't realize they were under an illusion, staggered and fell to their seats. Fall into deep sleep. Untie. The moment he saw the feather, Fungin knew that Yakushi Kabuto had already started to act. He disrupted the movement of the chakra in his body and unlocked the illusion. Then he helped Hinata release the genjutsu through his clasped hands. Hinata woke up and rubbed her eyes. That's strange. Did Fungin see some feathers just now? That's an illusion. If something goes wrong, let's go find Uncle first. Fungin didn't hesitate too much, and he and Hinata took action immediately. At this time, the two sand shinobi guards behind the cage disguised as Orochimaru triggered the smoke bombs in their hands. Bang! There was a loud noise, followed by a thick plume of smoke. At the same time, before the guard beside Sarutobi Hiruzen could react, he was stabbed in the chest by a shuriken thrown by the guard sand shinobi while taking advantage of the smoke. Ah, run away, Hokage-sama. The moment Sarutobi Hiruzen looked sideways, Orochimaru stood up suddenly and attacked. He held a kunai around Sarutobi Hiruzen's neck and jumped to the top of the roof. At the same time, the sand shinobi ninjas who were ready to move outside the wood industry village also took action immediately after receiving the signal. I saw an extremely large summoning spell array that had been deployed in an open space in the dense forest at some unknown time. 6 sand shinobi ninjas sat in the corners around the magic circle. Each took out the scrolls they had prepared, and transported the chakra condensed in their bodies into the magic circle. Summoning technique. A huge 3-headed snake was summoned from the summoning array. The 3-headed snake smashed into pieces the thick walls of Konoha with just its huge body. The moment the plan started, Konoha village was in trouble both internally and externally. All Anbu members have started taking action, except Feng En. On the roof, an elephant in white robes was surrounded by several Anbu members in black robes. The wood class goes to the top, the fire class goes to the bottom, and start taking action. As Shang spoke in an orderly manner, 4 men in black robes code-named Fire Squad jumped below to protect the daimyo and villagers from various countries. The 3 men in black robes left behind by Muban followed the elephant to rescue Sarutobi Hiruzen. Just as Shang and others rushed forward, 4 more Sound Ninja Village ninjas jumped out. They are Jorubo, Tayuya, Kitamaru and Sakanuken. The 4 of them stood at the 4 corners of the roof, surrounded Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru, and performed barrier ninjutsu. Ninja technique, 4 purple flame formation. A purple barrier formation instantly rose up all around. After Shang saw the barrier, he ordered, "Thunder! Go and protect Lord Hokage." Yes. One of the men in black robes and masks behind him heard this and rushed forward. He plunged headlong into the 4 purple flame formation, and his whole body was instantly ignited with flames. He screamed and fell headlong onto the roof. After a tumble, he fell hard from the roof to the ground. The remaining 2 black-robed Anbu members behind him glanced at Shang with lingering fear. "Fortunately you didn't call me," the elephant mask said solemnly. "This barrier can only be broken from the inside. We can only help after Master Hokage kills one of them." "Ha, innocent," Kitamaru chuckled. "Tayuya, we've also opened a barrier on the inside." In an instant, a small purple formation formed around the 4 people who were using the 4 purple flame formation. Hateful. The elephant and the remaining 2 Anbu could only watch from the outside and had no way of making a move. On the other side, Shimura Danzo, who was hiding in the underground root base, was surrounded by dozens of roots and listened to the noise coming from outside. "Danzo, for letting us stay here." Among them were 1 or 2 Anbu members wearing masks, clenching their fists under their robes and whispering in their hearts. "There is root in Anbu, and there is Anbu in root." They are Anbu who Sarutobi Hiruzen inserts into the root and stares at Danzo's actions. Anbu and roots fundamentally belong to the same source. After Sarutobi Hiruzen abolished the radical roots, Danzo did not completely disband, but secretly cultivated its own roots. Danzo chose to stand by and watch. No matter whether Sarutobi Hiruzen died or Orochimaru failed and died, he would benefit. In cooperation, it is enough that he is only responsible for relaxing some of Konoha's power. "Hiruzen, I told you, you will regret it." Shimura Danzo's small eyes revealed an insidious coldness. "Fungen has already met up with Hyuga Hiyashi. Uncle, I'll leave Hinata to you. I'll go take care of something." "Okay, it's very chaotic now. I'll take Hinata back to the mansion first. Please pay attention to your safety." Hyuga Hiyashi did not look at Fungen, but opened his Byakugan, guarding against the Sand Shinobi and Sound Ninja who might jump out at any time. "Fungen." Hinata had a worried look on her face. Fungen smiled and comforted. "It's okay, I won't put myself in danger with you here." "Call out." Several shurikens and kunai flew from behind a distant pillar. Fungen instantly appeared next to the Sound Ninja hiding behind the pillar. "What?" Click. Fungen simply broke his neck. "Uncle, you go first. Then close your eyes and open the eyes of Kagura." "Good." Hyuga Hiyashi nodded and left with Hinata. Under Byakugan's eyes, nothing within a kilometer can hide. As long as he wanted to, he would not encounter those rebellious Sand Shinobi and Sound Ninja. As he galloped towards the mansion, he said, "Don't worry, he is very strong, even stronger than my father." "Well, I know," Hinata said softly. She knew that Fungen was very strong, but she was still worried about his safety in her heart. Fungin, who closed his eyes and opened Kagura's inner eye, sensed that Hyuga Hiyashi and Hinata had appeared outside the competition venue. Very soon, uncle. After knowing the specific chakra, Fungin's Kagura mind-eye can perceive the opponent's position and movements in detail. Inuzuka Kiba, Kazuhana, Setsuki. Fungin sensed the opponent's position one by one. When he carefully sensed the position of Aburame Shino, he found that he seemed not to be in the venue. Where is Shino at this time? Fungin opened his eyes and frowned slightly. After thinking for a long time, he finally remembered. I remember he was chasing Sasuke, right? After Fungin confirmed that the other party was not in danger for the time being, because Fenghua and Shuiyu were awake and aware, they were obviously hiding somewhere and not moving. So he headed towards the unconscious Inuzuka Kiba. After Fungin landed at a staircase, he saw Inuzuka Kiba and Akamaru who were unconscious. Get up. Fungin stepped forward and woke up Inuzuka Kiba. Ah! Inuzuka Kiba barked violently first and quickly entered a fighting posture. Fungin asked with some confusion, "What are you doing?" Inuzuka Kiba turned around and saw that it was Fungin, and then his whole body relaxed. So it's you. Why are you here? Then he noticed the sound of fighting coming from around him. What's going on? Why did the fight start? It's too confusing to talk about for a while, but it's simply that the Sand Shinobi and the Sound Ninja are going to attack Konoha. Fungin gave Inuzuka Kiba a simple explanation. Why did they start fighting? Inuzuka Kiba asked in confusion. Follow me. Let's meet Fenghua and the others first. Fungin did not choose to answer his doubts again, and the explanation would have to wait until the incident was over. Seeing that Inuzuka Kiba was still in a dazed state, Fungin helplessly grabbed the hood behind his clothes. Just drag him and jump away together. The other people around him were unfamiliar with him, and he had no intention of rescuing them. Not long after, Fungin landed at the location where he had sensed Fenghua and Shuiyu staying. But no sign of the two was found. Then he closed his eyes again and opened Kagura's heart eye. Perception spreads to the periphery. At this moment, Inuzuka Kiba on the side patted Fungin on the shoulder. I smell them, over here. Inuzuka Kiba waved his hand and ran towards a woods. Seeing this, Fungin also hurriedly chased after him. There was no need for him to explore the Inuzuka family's secret technique of super strong sense of smell. After all, Kagura's heart eye, a secret technique of the Uzumaki clan, has to be opened by closing the eyes. It can be used for detection, but it is still inconvenient to use it in battle like the Byakugan. Woof woof. Akamaru probed his head from Inuzuka Kiba's arms. You're awake too, Akamaru. Inuzuka Kiba rubbed Akamaru's dog head. After a moment, Fungin saw Fenghua and Shuiyu escorting some women and children. No wonder I sensed that they were staying where they were. Was it because they were helping others? He himself would not do such a thankless thing, but if others did, he would not give them any advice because it was unnecessary. Ya, Fungin, have you escaped too? Fenghua, who was the first to notice the two of them, asked with a smile. Inuzuka Kiba at the front nodded. Woof woof. Akamaru stuck his head out and barked twice, as if to express his dissatisfaction at not saying hello to it. It's been a long time since I beat you, Wanzi. Fenghua smiled and rubbed Akamaru's head. Akamaru whined, seeming to enjoy it very much. Fungin casually looked at the women and children present. There were 4 of them. Including Fungin's 4, there were a total of 8 people present. Fungin asked, where are you going now? Are you going home? Shuiyu nodded. Then he gave a brief introduction to Fungin and Inuzuka Kiba one by one. This is our grandma and Aunt Weijong from next door, and her daughter. After hearing Shuiyu's introduction, Fungin took a quick look and saw that her grandma's overall appearance was not much different in age from the woman next to her. Her hair was not completely gray, and she seemed to be in good spirits. The woman next to her still seemed to be in a state of shock, holding her daughter who looked to be 6 or 7 years old tightly in her arms. Hello grandma. Hello grandma. Fungin and Inuzuka Kiba gave a simple greeting to the old man. Well, hello there, grandma responded with a smile. When we were at home, Shuiyu and Fenghua would mention it from time to time. Thanks to meeting Fungin, they successfully passed the previous exams. You must be Fungin, right? Yuzuki's grandmother held Inuzuka Kiba's hand gratefully. Well, grandma, I'm not Fungin, he is. Inuzuka Kiba touched his neck a little helplessly. Ouch, I'm sorry, these two granddaughters always said how powerful Feng En is before. Seeing how strong you are, I thought you were Feng En. Grandma was a little embarrassed and apologized hastily. Am I that thin? Feng En rubbed his abdominal muscles helplessly. If he hadn't felt it was impolite to lift his clothes, he would have insisted on showing his grandma what a good figure was. After expressing her apology, Grandma turned her head and nodded to Feng En. I'm sorry, kid. I'm old and my eyesight is not that good anymore. I'm really sorry that everyone made the mistake. It's okay, Grandma. Feng En smiled. Whoosh. Suddenly, several kunai attacked Feng En and others. The moment the sound of breaking through the air sounded, Feng En rushed straight towards the flying kunai. Pong Chang. When the kunai hit him, it was directly bounced away. With his current cell activation ability, it would be difficult for a thrown kunai to leave white scratches on his body. Without even blinking, Feng En stretched out his hand to grab the flying kunai, and then appeared next to the Sand Shinobi ninja. When Sand Shinobi looked shocked, Feng En wiped his neck with a kunai. Then he looked at Shui Yu and said, Shui Yu, this place will be affected after a while, you should leave quickly. By the way, don't go home, go directly to the shelter. If I remember correctly, it should be over the Hokage rock, where there are other Konoha shinobi who are guarding the villagers. Quote. Shui Yu nodded. Okay, what about you? Why don't you go together? I still have things to do. Yeah, please go back with them. I'll leave first. Feng En turned around and left, confirming that they were safe was enough. As long as they don't interfere with the main battlefield, the remaining Sand Shinobi and Sound Ninja only seem to have the upper hand for a while. After their Konoha escape is completed and all combat forces join the battle, they will be able to easily defeat them. There are now 3 families in Konoha. Ino Shikacho, the Inuzuka family, the Young Girl family, the Sarutobi family, and the Hyuga family. In terms of combat power, even if Sand Shinobi and Sound Ninja join forces, it is impossible to defeat Konoha in terms of background. But the main battlefield that determines whether Sand Shinobi and Sound Ninja can win this time is still Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen. If a cage level took the time to attack Genin Chunin, it would be a crushing blow. This is why, just one Orochimaru dared to attack Konoha in a large scale. There are only 2 people who determine the village's key combat power, one is the Shadow and the other is the Tailed Beast. Where will those 2 ninjas from your Cloud Shinobi village be now? Feng En narrowed his eyes slightly and rushed towards the audience. In his memory, one of the 2 Cloud Shinobi village ninjas looked like a monkey, and the other had a bald head. It was precisely because of their looks that Feng En was impressed by them far beyond the memory of the first time Hinata was kidnapped. In a corner of the auditorium far away from the center of the battlefield, behind a group of unconscious villagers, there was a reflective bald head that caught Feng En's attention. Oh, I found it so quickly. After Feng En saw the iconic bald head and Cloud Shinobi forehead protector, he walked forward directly. When they heard the footsteps, the 2 people immediately turned to look at Feng En. After seeing that it was a kid, the 2 breathed a sigh of relief. Where did the furry baby come from? Gungangan. One of the bald men cursed with a fierce look on his face. The 2 of them were almost at Chunin level, and it was very safe to hide here and pretend to be dead. Feng En ignored them and walked slowly towards the 2 of them. The chakra in his body gradually broke through the walls of the acupuncture points. Open the door, close the door, open the door. 8 inner gates, the 3rd gate opened instantly. Hey, kid, are you looking for death? Didn't I tell you to get out? The bald Cloud Shinobi took out a kunai and threatened. Because Cloud Shinobi Village and Konoha have signed an armistice agreement, they will not take the initiative to break the armistice agreement unless necessary. I thought that if the little furry kid in front of me threatened me, I would be afraid to leave. As a result, he walked straight towards them, and he had to take out his kunai. If he got closer again, he planned to kill the kid in front of him directly. Who knows if this kid will suddenly attack them. However, Feng En didn't even look at him after the door opened, he just clenched his fist. Is this kid deaf? As soon as the bald Cloud Shinobi finished speaking, Feng En's fist appeared on his face. The powerful impact knocked away the speechless monkey-faced Cloud Shinobi. Boom! The 2 flew backwards and hit the wall of the stands with a loud bang. At the critical moment, he couldn't even make a sound before his skull was crushed and his entire face collapsed. The monkey-faced cloud shinobi behind him groaned, spat out a large mouthful of blood, and pushed the bald head away with difficulty. The bridge of his nose was hit by the bald head, causing nosebleeds. What are you going to do? We are from Cloud Shinobi Village. We are allies and signed an armistice agreement a few years ago. Do you Konoha want to start a war with our Cloud Shinobi Village too? Monkey-faced Cloud Shinobi was breathing heavily and could kill his companions with one punch. He didn't think he could beat the kid in front of him. Are you using a war between villages to suppress me? Feng An smiled. I'm not trying to scare you. What I said is true. You don't want your village to be devastated by war because of you, right? Hearing Feng An's reply, monkey-faced Cloud Shinobi breathed a sigh of relief. As long as I can stabilize him temporarily, as long as I can delay Omoi's attention. Phew, just when he was holding Lucky and breathing a sigh of relief, Feng An was already holding a kunai and pierced his chest. You, monkey-faced Cloud Shinobi expressed dissatisfaction. He had done nothing, so why was he being targeted by such a terrifying kid? Feng An saw the doubt in the monkey's face and just pushed his body away coldly. Keita, a black-skinned Cloud Shinobi holding a lollipop in his mouth, shouted angrily, throwing several shurikens at Feng An. At the same time, the figure followed closely behind and drew out the long knife from behind. Feng An looked at it coldly, and did not dodge the shuriken. He took out the scroll and directly took out the Kusanagi sword. When Cloud Shinobi's long sword slashed in front of him, Feng Yasu used the blade of Kusanagi's sword to block the slash from above. Feng An recognized the man in front of him. His name was Omoi. Omoi was shocked. His attack from above was easily blocked by the kid in front of him. He had pressed down with all his strength, but the opponent's sword did not move at all. You didn't ask me why I killed them, why did you come to kill me? Feng An spoke calmly. Omoi jumped back to distance himself. He spit out the lollipop in his mouth and said, why? Because the two of them tried to kidnap me, I killed them. Is it reasonable? Kidnapping you? Omoi frowned slightly. Then he looked at Feng An. Red hair, Uzumaki lineage, but why kidnap him as a kid? What's the point of even being of the Uzumaki lineage? Sealing technique. Just as he was thinking, Feng An had already turned around and was about to leave. He really doesn't want to ruin the original plot if it's not necessary. Being a person who can predict the future direction, as long as he develops according to the original plot, it's easy for him to stay safe and sound. Wait, why did they kidnap you? Feng An said casually. How do I know? You should ask them. I am the victim. Are you the victim? Are there dead people still the perpetrators? After hearing Feng An's words, Omoi's eyes became bigger and the other's eyes became smaller. At this moment, a discordant sound suddenly came out. Don't listen to what he's making up. I just saw it all. Those two didn't say anything, and he went up and killed them. Feng An and Omoi both looked sideways. After seeing the speaker, Feng An frowned slightly. Shimura Shunta. The last time he saw him was at the Chunin exam registration site. At that time, he didn't know why he was still treating him respectfully. In his impression, except for his surname Shimura, other aspects of this person were pretty good. Does it turn out that he is still a righteous person? What Shimura Shunta said was basically correct. In the eyes of others, he killed the two Cloud Shinobi without saying a word. But he faintly sensed hatred from Shimura Shunta. This made Feng An a little confused. This was the second time the two met, so why did they have such strong hatred? Omoi looked at Shimura Shunta and asked, who are you? I am Shimura Shunta, the current captain of the Konoha Guards. I guarantee my integrity that I have not lied. Shimura Shunta looked serious. Omoi turned around and looked at Feng An coldly. Kid, everyone in your village has exposed you, what else do you have to say? There's nothing to say. I told them that they were going to kidnap me. If you don't believe me, forget it, Feng An responded calmly. Furious, Omoi on the side was not worried yet, but Shimura Shunta shouted angrily first. Let's control him together, and then I'll hand him over to your Cloud Shinobi village. Feng An glanced at Shimura Shunta and felt more and more weird. What happened to me last time? The captain of the Konoha Guard actually helped me Cloud Shinobi village. Interesting. The corners of Omoi's mouth curved slightly. Your captain has said so, obey the law and be punished. Shimura Jun Taiyan smiled and said, Fungin, you obey the law obediently. This is also for the friendly agreement between Konoha and Cloud Shinobi Village to continue. For the sake of the village, why don't you go rescue the Hokage? I really don't understand your thinking. Fungin shook his head. Because he couldn't figure it out, he finally asked. What exactly is the hatred in your eyes? This is our second meeting, right? Because you deserve to die. Shimura Shunta cursed angrily and quickly formed seals with his hands. Water-style water waves. Puff. A large amount of water spurted out from his mouth and rushed towards Fungin. Fungin looked at the weak water column and shook his head. This is just a little better than Dasui technique. Fungin didn't even close the seal, and the chakra directly formed itself in the body and moved according to the movement rules of ninjutsu, and then spit out water bullets from his mouth like a high-pressure water gun. Water-style water-severing wave. The water jet sprayed by Shunta was instantly defeated by Fungin's water-severing wave and went straight to his chest. Shimura Shunta's expression changed instantly and he quickly turned sideways. Phew, but it still cut his shoulder, and the wound opened in an instant, turning his sleeves bright red. He's obviously just a brat, how can he use water-severing wave? Shimura Shunta looked fierce, and hurriedly formed another seal, using the water sprayed out just now, to use the most powerful ninjutsu he currently masters. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. The water scattered on the table instantly gathered together to form a huge water dragon. The blue water dragon opened its mouth, as if roaring, and swallowed Fungin in one gulp. Suffer death. Shimura Shunta's murderous intent is undisguised. Omoi on the side was stunned. Our Cloud Shinobi village ninjas were killed, why did you make it look like your Konoha village ninjas were killed? Compared to Shimura Shunta, he feels that he is not so popular now, as if he seems very impersonal. However, it has not yet been swallowed by the dragon. A figure in white robe suddenly appeared in front of Fungin. Earth-style wall. The white-robed figure was seen crouching down and suddenly slapping his hands towards the ground. The ground in the stand suddenly trembled. A tall, thick wall of earth quickly rose up, blocking Shimura Shunta's water dragon bomb technique. When the water dragon hit the earth flow wall, it collapsed. Shunta Shimura, who looked proud, suddenly froze. Then, the man in the white robe and mask came out from behind the earth flow wall. The moment he saw the mask on this person's face, Shimura Shunta's pupils tightened. Anbu. Even though he is the captain of the Konoha Guard, he has no say in facing Anbu. Anbu is a secret assassination tactics special force directly under Lord Hokage. Konoha Guard. It's just a small department that manages public security. The figure in white robe is the only male figure Fungin knows. What's going on? Shang didn't turn around, looked at the Cloud Shinobi village ninja in front of him and asked calmly. But the slightly radiating pressure made Omoi's face feel unnatural. Every village has its own Anbu. Omoi naturally knew what Anbu from Konoha was here for. Just now, before Omoi finished speaking, Shimura Shunta on the side quickly said. Senior, the kid behind you killed 2 ninjas from Cloud Shinobi village. At this time when we are facing internal and external troubles, he actually intends to start another war. I suspect he is being ulterior. Just now we worked together with this ninja from Cloud Shinobi village to capture him. Quote. After hearing Elephant's question, Shimura Shunta, who had a guilty conscience, was sweating profusely, thinking that Elephant was asking him. After all, no one can see who his eyes are looking at while wearing the mask. So he quickly put all the hats he could on Feng An's head. Hearing this, Feng An raised the corners of his mouth slightly. As expected of the surname Shimura, you will not be disappointed. Feng An sneered inwardly, eager to slap the blame on Feng An, he must know something about Tai Meng. After hearing Shimura Shunta's words, Shang asked calmly, why? Feng An knew this was a question to him. But Shimura Shunta didn't know, so he thought he'd ask him why. He quickly lowered his head and answered. Senior, this brat is actually a spy from another village. Like those Sand Shinobi Sound ninjas, he colluded to provoke a war between Konoha and Cloud Shinobi. In this way, even if Lord Hokage wins, we will still have to suffer in the future the ravages of war. Shimura Shunta said vigorously. Senior, let's hand him over to Cloud Shinobi village. This is what Mr. Third Generation did 8 years ago, in exchange for the friendship between our Konoha and Cloud Shinobi village. The expression of Shang under the mask is already very cold. Even if we don't talk about Anbu's identity, just guessing about the third Hokage is enough to kill him several times. Especially the incident at that time was not glorious, and I dared to use it as an example. It was like slapping him in the face of Konoha in front of the Cloud Shinobi village ninjas. After he finished speaking, Fangin sneered, "Have you finished farting? Insolent, how dare you say such vulgar words in front of your seniors?" Shimura Shunta raised his head suddenly, his eyes widening. "Senior, I will kill him for you." He was so happy that he took this opportunity to kill the kid. Not only could he get revenge, but he could also win the favor of Senior Anbu. Kill two birds with one stone. Immediately, his hands quickly formed seals, and the water around him that had not dried up began to solidify again. The fourth door, the injury door, opens. The moment he broke through the injury gate, Fangin appeared on top of Shimura Shunta at extremely fast speed. He stepped on his head and pushed it toward the ground. Boom! Shimura Shunta didn't even have time to form a seal, so he hit the hard ground face down. Dust was everywhere, and cracks appeared on the ground like spider webs. The speed was so fast that after Shimura Shunta's face hit the ground, Omoi, who was not far away, noticed that Fangin had stepped on him. Just now he only felt a gust of wind whistling past. Omoi glanced sideways at Fangin, swallowed hard, and beads of sweat dripped from his forehead. As this Konoha genin, at this time, he could no longer think of any plans to hold him accountable. Fangin slowly closed his eyes and opened Kagura's inner eye, and said to Shimura Shunta at his feet, "I've stopped. Don't pretend to be dead. I want to ask you something. Did Tai Meng's 2 assassinations have anything to do with you?" Shimura Shunta's face sank into the ground, and his entire face was bleeding. Why did he dare to be so wanton in front of Senior Anbu? Why is he so powerful? I'm an elite jonin, and I'm going to be stepped on by a kid. Shimura Shunta couldn't believe what was happening. "Did you hear that?" Fangin asked again with a slight frown. Faced with life and death, Shimura Shunta's mind was racing. This is the second time that he and the other party have met, and Tai Meng probably didn't confess him for the sake of his son. As long as he insists that his death has nothing to do with him, he still has a chance to survive. His eyes lit up and he quickly shouted in a crying tone. "That's why Tai Meng went to you to avenge his son. It has nothing to do with me. His son is already like that, and I really can't persuade him." However, in front of Fang An's Kagura heart, his painful drama seemed very disgusting. Fangin closed his eyes and took out the kunai, stabbed it into his left hand and inserted it into the ground. "Ah, my hand." The pain in Shimura Shunta's left hand suddenly spread throughout his body, and his face instantly became ferocious. He knew that he would have a chance to live only if he bit him to death and had nothing to do with him. Once he admitted it, he would definitely die. He said with a trembling voice, "Everything I said is true. I really didn't lie to you. Senior, save me. I am Lord Danzo's nephew." The elephant in the distance frowned slightly under the mask and did not reply. He was just looking into the distance. That was the 4 Purple Flame Formation, where Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru fought. "Give you another chance. Is Shimura Danzo related to this matter?" Maple's cold words reached Shimura Shunta's ears again. At the same time, there was a figure of a member of the Konoha Guard in the distance. He was looking at what was happening in front of him with horror on his face. "Team, Captain, no, I have to find Lord Danzo, only Lord Danzo." The Konoha Guard member in the distance quickly jumped away and disappeared. Hearing Fangin's question, Shimura Shunta felt cold all over, his pupils were shaking like an earthquake. Why would he ask me this question? Could it be that he already knew that this matter had something to do with his uncle? No, he has no evidence now, otherwise he wouldn't ask me. Absolutely not, admit it. As long as I bite him to death, he will definitely not kill me without evidence. I have no idea. You do not know. Fangin chuckled lightly. Under the perception of his Kagura mind, Shimura Shunta was lying, which meant that he knew it. This matter is probably related to Shimura Danzo, Fangin has confirmed in his heart. I really don't know. Danzo-sama and I have a simple uncle-nephew relationship. He is Hokage-sama's assistant, and I am just a small guard captain. Shimura Shunta still bites the bullet and firmly refuses to admit it. That's right, Fangin silently took out another kunai. You have no idea, I can see right through you lying. Hearing this, Shimura Shunta's breathing became rapid. How could it be possible if he saw through it? Fungin didn't bother to explain anything to him. He raised his kunai, aimed it at Shimura Shunta's head, and stabbed it with a kunai. Wait a minute. Zhang's figure instantly appeared in front of the two of them, grabbing the kunai that Fungin was stabbing with one hand. However, in front of Fungin, who had already opened the 4th level of injury, Zhang's single arm was not enough to stop Fungin. The elephant under the mask looked shocked and instantly used all his strength to stop him. At the same time, Shang hurriedly said, "He is Lord Danzo's nephew. If you kill him, once Lord Danzo starts to hold you accountable, it will be difficult for Lord Hokage to save you." Shang can let Fungin teach Shimura Shunta a lesson, but he will not allow Shimura Shunta to be killed. He knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen valued Maple and in front of him very much. On the other side, the guard member rushed to the underground route base. Just because he once accompanied Shimura Shunta to Sentai Meng here. Before he could get too deep, he was held by a masked route member holding a kunai on his neck. The security team member quickly shouted, "I am Shimura Shunta's subordinate. Captain Shunta is in danger." Shimura Shunta. When the route member heard this, he said coldly, "You wait here." Then he disappeared and walked deeper. Not long after, Shimura Danzo came to the guard member. The moment he saw Shimura Danzo, he shouted anxiously, "Danzo-sama. Captain Shunta is about to be killed." Danzo, who had a calm face, heard his words and his little eyes immediately stared. "Sand shinobi or sound ninja? Take me to see it quickly." Shimura Danzo is still concerned about the only remaining member of the clan, otherwise he would not be allowed to sit in the position of captain of the guard force. The member of the security team hesitated and said, "None of them, it's a red-haired brat from Konoha." Hearing this, Shimura Danzo immediately realized something. "Tenzo, please pay attention to the movements above. When the time comes, go out and kill Sand Shinobi and Sound Ninja. At the same time, win the favor of the daimyo and the villagers." "Yes." After finishing speaking, Shimura Danzo grabbed the guard member and rushed towards the ground. Shimura Shunta's left hand was still stuck on the ground. Even if there was a gap now, he could not escape easily. "It's really not me. Senior, you have to believe me." Zhang's intervention was a life-saving straw in his eyes at this moment. Fungin glanced at Shimura Shunta coldly. Then he looked at Shang and said, "Uncle and nephew, so what? When he killed me, did he ever think about such a day?" Hinata was implicated in the 2 assassinations each time, and for this reason alone, he was dead enough. If that's the case, it's natural to kill him, but do you have any evidence? And now that the village is in turmoil, it's not too late to make a decision later. The elephant still blocks the exhortation. "Yes, I am the proof." The words of the 2 people reached Shimura Shunta's ears. His mind, which had been thinking about how to survive, suddenly understood something. The 2 of them sounded like they were on equal terms. Could this kid actually be from Anbu? After having such a conjecture, Shimura Shunta's face turned as pale as paper. Only the geniuses among geniuses can enter Anbu at this age. At this moment, a low shout suddenly sounded. "Elephant, if you don't help Master Hokage out of trouble, what are you going to do to my people here?" Hearing his uncle's familiar voice, Shimura Shunta on the ground once again regained his desire to live. "Uncle, save me." Shang lowered his head and said, "Master Danzo, Master Hokage is trapped in the 4 purple flame formation, we can't get close." "Then what's the point of hurting my people?" Shimura Danzo slowly came to him. Omoi next to him had cold sweat on his face. Things are getting worse. After looking around at a few people, he took advantage of the confrontation and was about to escape. Fungin just glanced at him briefly, and then appeared beside him quickly. With the blessing of the 4th level damage gate and cell activation, the movement speed is more practical than his body flicker technique. Fungin punched down. With just one blow, Omoi's eyes turned white and he fainted with a groan. The speed was extremely fast, and before Danzo and Shang realized it, Omoi was already lying on the ground. So fast. Instantly, Shimura Shunta and Shang were reminded of the fastest man, Yellow Flash. Shimura Shunta, who was lying on the ground, reluctantly pulled out the kunai with his left hand stuck on the ground, and stood up. He didn't dare to move easily before, fearing that the angry Fangin would be killed in one blow, but now that his uncle Danzo is here, what else does he worry about? Even if it is Anbu, how big a splash can it cause in the face of Hokage's assistant status? After standing up, he glanced at Fangin and Shang beside him with a ferocious expression. Then he turned his head disdainfully and looked at Shimura Danzo with a sad face. Uncle, if you come here one step later, you will never see me again. After saying that, he looked at Shang with a sinister look. He and that kid are working together. Instead of killing the enemy is attacking me, the captain of the security team, and even wants to kill me. Hearing the words, Shimura Danzo frowned slightly. He could hear his nephew dunking the hat, and he did it very well. This way, even if Orochimaru fails, he can use it to impeach Sarutobi Hiruzen. Thinking of this, the corners of Shimura Danzo's mouth curved slightly. He suppressed his joy and looked at Shang gloomily. Is that so? Shang, do you want to kill me, the only seedling of the Shimura clan? Without waiting for Shang to react, Fangin took the lead and said. He didn't mean to kill, he came to stop me. I was the one who killed your nephew. There was a chill behind Shimura Shunta, and he quickly hid behind Shimura Danzo. Shimura Danzo's face was extremely gloomy. From the fact that Shang didn't say anything after the other party finished speaking, it was concluded that Fangin had probably been recruited into Anbu by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Now that you have joined Anbu, don't do such things where fellow villagers hurt each other, otherwise your Anbu status can be removed at any time and you will be treated as a traitor. Fangin ignored him and just silently took out a scroll. Shimura Shunta behind him was ecstatic when he saw that Fangin did not dare to reply. I can't suppress you. My uncle Hokage's status as assistant can't suppress you. Just wait. As long as you are still in the village, I want to kill you. There are many opportunities. Just when Shimura-jun was too complacent and felt that he had a chance to win, he heard his uncle shout angrily, "What are you going to do?" Fangin was indifferent. A long sword was pointed straight towards Shimura Danzo and stabbed Shimura Shunta. Phew! Shimura Danzo quickly turned sideways, and his arm was only scratched by the sword. Shimura Shunta was already sluggish due to injury and was in a relaxed state, and he didn't expect Fangin to dare to take action against him. Feeling pain in his chest, Shimura looked down dully. A sword? Was I stabbed? In front of my uncle? His face was filled with disbelief. Puff! As the Kusanagi sword in Fangin's hand retracted, a stream of blood spurted out of his mouth and he fell to the ground. I haven't been able to. As the chakra in his body dissipated, Shimura Shunta completely stopped breathing. Shunta! Shimura Danzo looked at Shimura Shunta, who was motionless on the ground with an angry look on his face. He was the only son of the Shimura clan, and with his death, Danzo finally became alone. The elephant next to him raised his eyebrows under his mask and looked sideways at Fangin. He never expected that Fangin would be so bold as to kill his nephew in front of Danzo. Kai, if you do this, there is no way out. Fangin smiled. It doesn't matter, you won't help this old guy across the street catch me, right? Shang didn't speak. He was Anbu, who belonged directly to Sarutobi Hiruzen. If Sarutobi Hiruzen asked him to kill Kai, he would definitely do it, but now he won't. Then his body flashed and disappeared. Then Fangin closed his eyes and opened Kagura's inner eye. He asked Shimura Danzo, "Does Taimang's matter have anything to do with you?" He understands that the other party wants to take advantage of the chaos. If the other party does not provoke him and does not put Hinata in danger, he does not recommend whether the person's surname is Hokage as Sarutobi or Shimura. But since the other party has murderous intentions towards him, just once, he will not let him go. Just as Shimura Danzo took advantage of the chaos, he, Fangin, could also take advantage of the chaos. Shimura Danzo's face was ashen and he said in a low voice, "You killed my nephew and still dare to ask me questions. Ridiculous." Boom! Shimura Danzo slammed down the cane in his hand, and the head of the stick exploded into a chrysanthemum shape. At the same time, two figures of root members appeared behind him. "I am very good at hiding." Fangin opened his eyes and said lightly. Shimura Danzo shouted with a sullen face, "Wind, take the root and deal with him." One of the root members behind him drew out the long knife from behind and attacked Fangin. Even though he was wearing a mask, Fangin instantly understood that he should be Yamanaka Fang, and the man who silently took off his gloves behind should be Aburame Kagan. Fangin did not hesitate, and while dodging, he quickly formed seals with his hands. Shadow Clone Technique. Once the Yamanaka clan's heart-turning technique is tricked, it's basically impossible for him to get out of trouble alone. In the air, 5 Fangin appeared instantly. Wind-style vacuum sphere. Shimura Danzo's wind-style attacks from the side also followed. The airflow ejected from the mouth is as fast as a bullet, not only extremely fast but also extremely destructive. Fangin had no way to dodge in the air. The bullet-like airflow hit Fangin, and the 2 shadow clone instantly turned into smoke. At the same time, Aburame's body behind him was covered in nanoscale poisonous insects, and his skin color turned dark purple. Then he rushed towards Fangin. The remaining 3 Fangin used ninjutsu at the same time. Dark Walk Technique. It covered a 10-meter radius, depriving the 3 people of their vision in an instant. The remaining 2 Fangin used 2 fire styles respectively. Fire style, the fire is extinguished. Fire style, the fire is extinguished. A vertical and horizontal super wide range of flame attacks attacked the 3 people in the dark technique. Yamanaka at the front has extremely good wind perception, and after being deprived of his vision, his perception quickly comes into play. When Fangin's fire style attack came towards him, he quickly grabbed Aburame, who was also deprived of his vision, and jumped away with his roots. Shimura Danzo, on the other hand, was shocked at the moment he was hit by the technique, and realized that this technique was a dark technique. He hurriedly removed the bandage on his right arm, made the 3 seals of Mao, Hai and Wei, and arranged Izanagi. The moment the fire engulfed Shimura Danzo, he appeared again. Yamanaka Fang, who jumped away with Togen in his arms, also shivered all over because of touching Togen's body. His nerves were paralyzed, and he could not move. Whined. Aburame took the root and immediately pressed the place where the Yamanaka wind had touched the poisonous insect, and began to recover the poisonous insect. After seeing this scene, Fangin felt a little troubled. Izanagi can reverse a situation that is not good for him and rewrite it into a reality that is good for him. Once turned on, it will be equivalent to an invincible buff for a period of time. In my impression, because Shimura Danzo is not from the Uchiha clan, 1 Sharingan only lasts for 1 minute, and he has 10 Sharingans. The other 2 roots, Yamanaka Fang and Aburame, are also extremely difficult to deal with. Does it take him 10 minutes? Fangin murmured to himself. Then the 3 Fangin used fire style again. They attacked the 3 of them respectively. He didn't dare to relax. One was the heart-turning technique, and the other was distinguished heavenly gods. If he didn't pay attention, he would be attacked. Fortunately, he has the chakra C, otherwise it would be difficult for Cage level to have a better response to the attacks of Shimura Danzo and the other 3. Hateful. Seeing the flames coming again, Aburame picked up Yamanaka Fang by his roots and jumped away. His poisonous insects were extremely afraid of flames, and Yamanaka Fang was so poisonous that he was suppressed and could only avoid it. Leave me alone, go protect Lord Danzo. Yamanaka Fang, who was in Turin's arms, said with a painful expression. Don't say anything. I will protect Lord Danzo immediately after I detoxify you. Aburame jumped several times and fled the scene. Yamanaka Fang is his only friend and he will never let him die by his own poison. Snort. Noticing the 2 people who escaped, Shimura Danzo's eyes were cold. Facing the heat wave and the powerful fire, he did not dodge and quickly threw the kunai towards Fangin. Fangin casually slapped the kunai whistling towards him, and then it flew far away with a clang. Gee. The moment Shimura Danzo was engulfed in flames, he appeared on the other side again, forming seals with his hands. At the same time, he took a deep breath of air and exhaled high-pressure air fluid towards the 2 shurikens in his hands. Then the shuriken in his hand rotated rapidly, forming high-speed and fierce wind blades around him. He stood at the blind corner and threw it towards Fangin. Wind-style shuriken. The high-speed wind blade formed by the shuriken greatly accelerates the speed and power of the shuriken. Fangin's clone was crushed by the wind blade before it was hit. At the moment of approaching the main body, Fang Yasu's main body used the Kusanagi sword in time to block the wind-style shuriken attack. Using his arms hard, he flew away the high-speed rotating wind-style shuriken. When it hit the wall, a long gap was immediately cut. Fortunately, I didn't boldly use my body to resist just now. Fungin looked sideways at the cracks in the wall with lingering fear. Wind-style vacuum chaos wave. Shimura Danzo's wind-style ninjutsu comes one after another, which is much more difficult than the opponent's maple and has encountered before. From Shimura Danzo's mouth, a long whip of air spreads like a snake, which is extremely sharp. The surrounding stones were immediately chopped into pieces by the long whip, and the curved wind-style whip was whipped towards Fungin from the front. Wind-style great breakthrough. Maple and used stronger winds to hit him head-on, breaking up the vacuum waves ejected by Shimura Danzo. When the wind-style ninjutsu collided and offset each other, Fungin stared at the scarlet Sharingan on Shimura Danzo's arm. He saw that Danzo only had a Sharingan closed on his arm. In other words, only 1 minute has passed, and not even 2 minutes have passed. How on earth did Sasuke defeat this old guy? Fungin used ninjutsu and threw shurikens at the same time. Earth-style river. Instantly, black sludge began to flow from Danzo's feet. Danzo stumbled and fell into it, and then the shuriken pierced his face. But soon, he appeared outside the black mud again, completely fine. After actually fighting Fungin, he understood why Taimang and others failed. It was not Hyuga Hiyashi's fault, but the red-haired kid in front of him. Then Danzo raised his arm and looked at Sharingan, saw the second one that was closed, and immediately formed the seal again. Mao, Hai, Wei. Arrange the third Sharingan Izanagi again. After he arranged it, the shuriken thrown by Fungin also came towards him. It penetrated directly into his body and died on the spot, but unfortunately appeared on the other side. Fungin's eyes narrowed, and at the same time that Danzo's figure emerged, the Kusanagi sword pierced again from a distance of dozens of meters. His perception gradually locked onto Shimura Danzo's chakra. The moment his death changed the facts, Fungin would sense his location. This gave Fungin a good idea. As long as he placed his ninjutsu at Shimura Danzo's foothold in advance, he would have no room to react. Fungin's thoughts instantly returned to the battle between Sasuke and Shimura Danzo on the bridge. The effect of the fragrant phosphorus is not only to restore the blood of the wet nurse, but also to rely on perception to allow Sasuke to suppress Shimura Danzo's Izanagi. Earth-style river. Fungin once again used his perception to locate the foothold of Danzo's resurrection, and directly used the restricted earth style, and then shurikens and kunai roared over. Danzo couldn't avoid it and was stabbed. Not good. If this continues, I may die because I won't be able to arrange the next Izanagi. Danzo, who had just been resurrected, turned to the third half-closed Sharingan on his arm. When he raised his head again, countless kunai stabbed him head-on. Fungin used earth-style taiga to restrict Danzo's movements, while throwing shurikens and kunai to kill him. This makes for a nearly seamless process of killing Shimura Danzo all the way through. Fortunately, when he was assassinated in the kingdom of Tang, he looted those people's weapons, otherwise it would not be enough. It's such a long minute. Feng An's pink complexion after opening the wound door looked a little pale under the intense concentration. Shimura Danzo, who had died countless times, realized something was wrong. Why does this kid seem to have so much chakra? He's throwing out ninjutsu while opening 8 inner gates. He was shocked inside, especially when he saw the third eye on his arm that was about to close completely. He began to form seals as soon as he was resurrected. However, after only forming the seal of Hai, the body dissipated and it was too late to resurrect. Just give me. Before he could finish what he was thinking, he was killed again. Shimura Danzo was really panicking now. His Hokage dream hadn't come true yet, and he hadn't seen Sarutobi Hiruzen fall yet. He began to feel a little regretful, regretting that he was not cruel enough to put himself in danger for a useless tribesman. Just like when Sarutobi Hiruzen took away the position of Hokage because of a mistake. Why am I always so far behind? Earth-style river. Fungin's super large-scale Earth-style river was arranged in advance at the feet of Danzo's resurrection. No chance. Shimura Danzo's heart skipped a beat, and his right shoulder exploded, and a big tree appeared in front of him. While the big tree crushed the earth flow, it blocked the shuriken thrown by Fungin. Shimura Danzo hid behind a tree and formed the seal again. Mao, Hai, Wei. Arrange the fourth Sharingan Izanagi again. As soon as it was arranged, the Kusanagi sword pierced his body along with the tree. Then it appeared again on the other side. Did he successfully arrange Izanagi again? He still has to wait for another minute. Feng An frowned slightly. For other people, they would have died due to exhaustion of chakra, but Feng An was different. After releasing countless ninjas in succession, he still felt tons of chakra emerging from his body. And the Hashirama cells in his body are always accelerating the recovery of chakra. The only thing that concerned him was his perception. The high concentration of perception made his mind a little tired. Earth-style river. After sensing the foothold of Danzo's resurrection, Feng An quickly used Earth-style and threw a kunai. A large area of black sludge appears again where Danzo revives. However, this time Shimura Danzo did not sit still and wait for death. Instead, he took advantage of Maple's previous use of Kusanagi sword to break the rhythm and missed the gap to use wind style. Use the airflow from your mouth to push back and push your body to avoid the kunai's shots. Wind style vacuum Dayama. I saw Shimura Danzo sucking in a big gulp of air, spitting out a huge circular rotating air pressure body and pressing it in the direction of Feng An. Sensing the terrifying fluctuations, Feng An frowned, and the chakra in his body instantly poured into Duman, the 5th level door. The 5th door is open. His skin suddenly changed from light red to red, his hair flew upside down, and chakra leaked out crazily. The chakra that burst out collided with the vacuum jade coming from the surface. The two forces instantly erupted with terrifying power. The bursting ripples bombarded Feng An and flew several meters away, knocking out a spider web shape from the wall behind him. A terrifying gash was cut into his body by the high-pressure airflow of the vacuum jade, and blood oozed out. The hole looked very leaky, but it was gradually healing. It seems that the 5th level of Duman is a bit stressful on the body. Feng An, who stood firm, looked a little hurt. Unlike the previous 4th gate, after opening Duman, he found that the cell activation he activated with the Thunder attribute chakra produced unstable fluctuations. This is the case with the 5th gate, which shows that with the blessing of cell activation, the limit of physical damage his body can withstand from the 8 inner gates is the level from the 6th gate to the 7th gate. Shimura Danzo, who was affected by the explosion ripples on the other side, was resurrected in another location. When he saw Feng An's wound, he immediately stared. Then he discovered that under Feng An's torn clothes, white cells were healing his wounds. Perfect fusion. Shimura Danzo looked surprised. He had spent half his life studying how to perfectly integrate first-generation cells, and now an example appeared in front of him. How did you do it? Shimura Danzo stared at Feng An's body with hot eyes and said happily. Seeing his greedy eyes, Feng An trembled all over. Shimura Danzo has never found a wife in his life, could it be? The more he thought about it, the more frightened he became. Old man, don't stare at me. Feng An scolded. Hearing Feng An's voice, Shimura Danzo's excitement eased a lot. He almost forgot that this was a life-and-death situation, and not in his root laboratory. I will decide your body. Shimura Danzo said with joy. You can see a lot of desire in his eyes. Idiot, die pervert. Feng An quickly activated his ninjutsu. Water-style water-severing wave. Several jets of high-pressure water gun-like water are fired from his mouth towards Shimura Danzo. Shimura Danzo dodged and formed seals. Afraid of being pressured into the resurrection point, even if he opened Izanagi, he didn't dare to take damage, he could only use it in unavoidable situations. Wind-style vacuum Dayama. After releasing this ninjutsu again, Shimura Danzo's entire face turned pale. Are you almost at your limit? After forcibly using the Kangtian tree that burst out of Hashirama's cells, most of his chakra disappeared in an instant. Now he is even more exhausted. Feng An, who had just been hit by the vacuum jade, was not willing to take another hit. 8 inner gates, the 6th gate Jingmun opens. When the circular high-pressure airflow was forced in front of him, Feng An once again burst out with astonishing momentum. Under Duman's high-intensity physical load, his body was extremely painful and his cell activation became even more unstable. Feng An frowned, resisting the pain in his body, and suddenly threw countless punches towards the approaching circular high-pressure airflow. The punch was so fast that a sonic boom was heard. In an instant, several fire-like shock waves bombarded Shimura Danzo's wind-style vacuum jade. As soon as the two came into contact, the high-pressure airflow was defeated by the flame shock wave created by Feng An's fist wind rubbing against the air. The subsequent flame shock wave went straight to Danzo's life without any stagnation. Facing the oncoming fire shock wave, Shimura Danzo was knocked back step by step, and there was no burn mark on his body. Chow Peacock. The 8 inner gates open the advanced physical skills that can only be unlocked at the 6th gate. He was shocked inside. However, before he could think any more, the ensuing fire shock waves hit his head directly, causing him to lose consciousness. When he was resurrected, he didn't even have time to think. Feng'an appeared at his footing and punched him through the body. Compared with before, Feng'an used Jingmun's burst of speed and power to completely cut off Danzo's life this time. In just a few seconds, Feng'an had killed Shimura Danzo 10 times. There should be less than 10 seconds left, Feng'an predicted, and at the same time, he burst out with faster speed and killed Shimura Danzo. He couldn't even form half a seal. I can't die here. I can't die here. The plan will succeed now. Boom. A punch penetrated his body, and his thoughts suddenly stopped. Then Danzo came back to life again. Feng'an turned around and punched his skull again. 5, 4, Feng'an recited silently while bursting out faster. This time we must not fail again. If we fail again, we will have to do it again for at least another minute. His body might be able to last longer under the 5th level of the Duman, but under the 6th level of the Jingmun, he could feel that it couldn't last that long. Once the body is overloaded, not only the effect of 8 inner gates will disappear, but also the body may become sluggish like Shaoli. 3-2. Within 2 seconds, Feng'an killed Danzo 3 times again. Shimura Danzo trembled all over. Will die. If I don't think of a way, I will really die. At the last second, it was also the last moment that Shimura Danzo Izanagi took effect. He suddenly pulled off the bandage on his right eye. The Scarlet Magatama Sharingan quickly spins into black lines in the shape of shurikens. Not good. Feng'an's fist blasted away and he opened his palm. Stabbed Danzo in the right eye. The speed was extremely fast, and Danzo's right eye was instantly detached, leaving only a hole bleeding with dark red blood. Then Feng'an hit Danzo's head again with another punch. Just as he was approaching Danzo's face, his fist suddenly stopped. What happened? Feng'an was shocked, and found that he couldn't move. I said, I will decide your body. Shimura Danzo in front of him was breathing heavily, but with a smile on his lips. The seal of the curse of self-karma. Feng'an noticed the black lines spreading on his body, and immediately understood that this was Shimura Danzo's binding ninjutsu. How dare you detain my Sharingan? Your expression just now seemed like you knew this eye. Have you ever seen Mangekyo Sharingan? Shimura Danzo asked, while taking out a kunai and slashing towards Feng'an. Phew. A bloody wound was opened on his body. Feng'an knitted his brows together and gritted his teeth. Sasuke used Susanoo to break free. What should I do? From the inside out, from the inside out. Feng'an's brain was running rapidly, recalling all the ninjutsu he had mastered over the years. No, there is only one way to attack the 8th inner gates and the 7th gate. No matter. This is the only way. Feng'an felt furious, and immediately mobilized all the chakra to pour into the Jingmun chakra acupuncture point in the dantian. At the same time, Shimura Danzo looked at the rapidly healing wounds on Feng'an's body and marveled. Ha ha ha, I don't know how you did it, but I will definitely figure it out. Shimura Danzo catches Feng'an and is about to go to the root laboratory. At this moment, Feng'an's body was steaming, as if a force was about to spurt out. Are you storming the 7th gate? Are you looking for death? Shimura Danzo shouted low and thrust the kunai towards Feng'an. He would not allow such a good experimental subject to disappear before his eyes. Bang! Suddenly, blue steam burst out from Feng'an's body. The chakra in the body multiplied dozens of times, exploding from the inside out. The gravel beneath his feet suddenly turned into powder, and Shimura Danzo's kunai broke into pieces before it penetrated. Feng'an's eyes turned white, he endured the severe pain in his body, and suddenly punched forward. Feng'an's punch caused ripples in the air. Accompanied by a rapid and harsh sonic boom, an air cannon suddenly formed like a white tiger swooping away. This technique is none other than the advanced taijutsu Hiratora of the 7th gate Kujimon. Oops, Shimura Danzo was ready to form the seal at this time. After Feng'an was controlled, he relaxed his vigilance and felt that he was sure of victory, so why waste one less Sharingan, so he did not arrange Izanagi again. It was already too late for him to form another seal at this time. Before the first mouse seal was formed, all the ribs in his body were smashed by the air cannon, and he flew away all the way. After breaking several pillars in the stands, they were buried tightly by the rubble that collapsed from above, and there was no movement at all. Then, after the shock dispersed, Feng Yan's aura dropped sharply and he fell down immediately. Every cell in his body was signaling to Feng Yan's brain, and the pain all over his body was coupled with the tinnitus that sounded like the cells were whining. Feng Yan, who has twice the mental power of an ordinary person, almost fainted. This loud noise made Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen, who were on the main battlefield, look sideways. The Sand Shinobi, Sound Ninja and Konoha Shinobi who were caught in the melee looked even more frightened. Does the other party have a stronger trump card? The three parties were all shocked, subconsciously guessing that this fluctuation was caused by the other party. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.